Please remain seated.
Welcome back to another edition of Laugh Your Way to the Top. I'm your host, Austin Fain, also the only sponsor still to this day. If anybody else wants to sponsor this thing, like, more power to you. I'll let competitors sponsor. If you have diapers or clothing lines or anything, if you have lotions that you want to sell on here and you want them to, I'm not picky. We'll take anybody at this point. But Perfect Steel is sponsoring another episode of Laugh Your Way to the Top. Today we have a repeat guest, one of our most popular episodes so far. Ryan Trouten is back with us today.
Thank you for having me back.
And he just got back from a pretty spectacular adventure in Texas. And we are going to talk a lot about that. I made him purposely not tell me anything about his experience. And leading up to that, I'll kind of give a thing. Ryan, when you about once a year ask me to find you something, what is it that you want me to find for you, and why?
I like the idea of having something to go to for multiple reasons. Gives you a new perspective, gives you new ideas. Keep open-minded to that.
Yeah.
Usually it's always business-based.
Right.
You know, has to do with what we do specifically in this company.
In the past, we've done like a Sam Taggart thing where they do
Which is great.
courses and they do team leading and they did one thing where you scream at the water and release your inner beast and all that kind of stuff. And that rah-rah stuff does help. I don't care who you are. It helps me. When I go to those things too, while they might be face value, a lot of them, maybe just surface level stuff, they do get me hype. Anytime I go to a conference or I do any of that stuff, it still helps me. Yep. It doesn't change my life like it does a lot of people, but it really does. I like going to them. I like meeting new people that do kind of the same thing, but they do it way different. Helps. The rah-rah stuff, like, let's get energized. I remember when I came back from the Sam Taggart thing, I was like, I'm going to get a fucking notebook and I'm going to fucking plan every second of my day, because if you don't plan, you plan to fail. I'm like, I'm going to be like a billionaire next month, and then obviously as the weeks drag on and things like that, you lose a little bit of that energy.
You go back to who you are.
You go back to who the preset things. Some of the stuff I kept helped us a lot in the canvassing. The interview process helped us a lot in the way I think about taking care of employees, learn a little bit about investing, all those things were good, but it didn't change my life. And so it was earlier this year, find something, I'm looking for something for you, get that energy, get that spark back up. And we came across a program called Rise Up Kings.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. How do they describe their program? How do they, face value describe? It's a 3-day experience in which
the initial thing is a 3-day experience.
Sure.
Yep.
The program that I sent you to was initially a 3-day thing. And how do they describe what you will do, why you would go to this thing?
It's crazy, because if you watch the videos on it, or you do any research on it, you think, why would anybody want to go do this?
And what do they see on that?
I mean, it's grueling as far as they do different things as far as what you can see on YouTube and stuff is people crawling through mud,
right?
Going in water,
boot camp, military
style.
Yeah,
I mean, you would think that's what you were going to.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then what do they, so a faith-based Christian business leadership boot camp, does that encompass everything that they're trying to? I know there's fraternity stuff in there. I know there's life planning stuff. I know that there's family centered. I know it's a lot of stuff, but if I'm going to try to sell this to someone to go, how do I tell someone that what they would go to and why it would be important?
That's kind of hard for me to explain, actually.
It's a different thing.
It's extremely different. And they even tell you, because you think, well, it's faith-based, but they also tell you it's not church.
Right.
So it's like a roller coaster ride. I mean, they give you everything. They throw everything that they can at you. I mean, as far as physically, mentally, spiritually, They run the whole gamut.
Yeah.
You know, and it's awesome.
In order to, is it like a same thing that regular boot camp is for, to break you down, then build you back up differently?
I would, yeah, definitely.
Is that, because I mean, that's essentially why all troops go to basic training. It's, you know, it's why we do stuff in sales training. Like, you know, we don't want any bad habits, or if you have any, we're going to try to break all of those and get you uncomfortable. And that way to rely on new skills in order to try to compensate for your bad stuff.
Yeah, they definitely break you some of the bad stuff.
And so this was the end of August.
Yep.
Probably some of the hottest days of the year.
The week before was 110, I believe they said, or 105, something like that. So we got lucky at 9,500.
95.
Yeah.
Is that a sweltering heat in Texas, or is it like a dry heat?
It's not a dry heat,
it's
but it's not as humid as we have here in Indiana. It's like you're in the middle of Arizona. So
some of the stuff that I want to get into before is the prep. Like these people because the nitty gritty stuff is like what happened there, but like the prep in itself was like a lot. Like we had to go out and get stuff.
Bro, I thought you were sending me to a cult.
Yeah, no,
I mean straight up.
you had uniforms that you had to go buy.
Yes,
all
and
black,
everything
Johnny
had to
Cash, everything.
Yes,
I mean just shoes.
Matter of fact, it kind of freaked me out at first.
Socks.
I was like, I don't really think
pants, shorts, shirts, dress shirts, suits.
Yep.
All black everything.
All black everything except for a white
no
dress shirt.
No logos, no nothing. And I think you got to choose whatever tie you wanted.
It had to be black.
Black.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were kind of thinking about like, wow, like, what? Quite investment. Like $1,000 worth of clothes to go to this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? Because it was just, I've never had to do, bring a computer or something like that, an iPad or something like that, but I've never had to do
dress
all that.
code.
Now that you have gone, what was the purpose of that?
They never really tell you the purpose of it, but it's pretty simple to figure out.
Okay.
I mean, it's uniform. You're all one. Not one is wearing, like, let's say,
Balenciaga,
yeah,
Gucci.
Exactly. Yeah, it's to keep everybody on the same
guys
level.
rocking and one. You know, you could tell who the poor motherfuckers are.
Right.
I don't know.
I would say it would be more like, so that way nobody's standing out.
Yeah.
You know, like there's not that one person that's a standout. Yeah. I mean, that's the only word you could really use for it.
So you ride down there, you get in the hotel.
Yeah. Freaking out
the night before. You had a night. Did you do a last meal sort of thing where you went out and got some nice food before you started all this, or did you?
I think I was so in my head, I couldn't. I sat in the room and ate a turkey.
You didn't leave?
No. I didn't want nobody to see me out there. I was like, I didn't want to get cornered by one of them. Like, oh, that's the guy.
So you flew in. You had a whole half day.
Yeah.
In Texas, which you don't go there a lot.
I've never been to Texas.
You've never been.
Yeah.
And you decided, I can't even leave this hotel.
I don't. I'm not interested in leaving. And I even told you
that
you said I was going to go out and explore a little bit.
And that's what I wanted you to do. I was like, oh man, thinking of Mexican food out there, it'd probably bomb.
I didn't think about that. I should have tried
probably bomb. But, and so you sat in the room, I assume they had sandwiches there, or
yeah, it was a turkey and Swiss sandwich and a bag of chips, and
you just watched TV and we're like,
I sat there and watched ESPN, wondering what did I get myself into?
Alone, hotel room.
What is the reason for me being here right now?
Okay. Next day starts off, I believe, at like 10 or noon, something like that.
Started off at noon,
and then walk me through what happened. Pick you up on a bus.
Yep. Actually, I did go outside that morning because I was like, man, I woke up super early. I couldn't sleep. I said, I'm going to go out. They had a river walk thing. So I did walk that in the morning for about 45 minutes or so.
Did you, not to interrupt, but like, did you, remember you were vaping again before you were going, and you quit that?
Yep.
Right before you left.
The day, actually, I think I was vaping that morning.
That morning.
Yeah. Before
How did that affect you?
Not having
why
it.
did you do that?
Well, I knew when I came back, I was going to go back to a rigid program. Like I knew this I was using this to kickstart me. Yeah. Yep. And I had quit vaping for quite a while. And then I got back on
almost a year, I would say.
At least
a year. A year.
And then I got back on it, and I noticed my coughing coming back. I noticed I was just continuously hitting this stupid thing, and driving down the road, and when it's raining, you got to crack the window just a little bit to blow the smoke out. And so it was just, it's dumb, really.
I like that you, even before the program actually started, was limiting yourself, knowing that the end result, if you wanted to be like 100%, you were going to have to make some lifestyle changes, and you started that before. You've always been like that. You always preface yourself and get yourself ready for that, and you usually stick to it really hard. You did 75 hard last time all the way through.
I'm on day 3 today.
And then you did phase 3 or 2 most of the way through that, if not all of it.
I did. I finished it the first time.
Did you?
The very first time. And then when I tried to start it back up a couple more times, I kept failing and failing. I was like, I'm done with it.
Tabled it for then.
Yeah.
So,
and then I got all this back.
So now you're stronger, but we still got the bellies again.
Yep.
So you walked down the Riverwalk, hung out.
Yep.
They picked you up.
We had to meet down in the lobby at noon, down at the hotel lobby.
Did you already start talking to people in the lobby?
Talked to a couple of people, but you know how I am anyways. I'm pretty, put the walls up quick and stuff, and I'm not letting you in, so don't even try type. So I got that standoffish personality anyways.
Tattoos like Joe, and you're like looking like a tough dude.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because a couple people mentioned to me towards the end that we know that that's just a facade.
Yeah.
You can tell that you're not that person.
Interesting.
Which is very interesting because I'm not that person. Like, I'm pretty emotional, but I can keep it at bay pretty good.
Seeing the stories of your life all over you. I like seeing this is who I was most recently, and this was a couple years ago, and this was further back. My elbow is when I got married, and then blah blah here, and you're like, all right, gotcha.
It really is like a notepad.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. So you run out of room, and so even the
I got my whole back yet.
Yeah, Perfect Steel PSS sponsored
well,
tattoo.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'll do a Rise Up King / PSS tattoo sponsorship. So they pick you up. You're standoffish. You get on a bus with all these dudes.
You don't get on the bus right away.
No.
I'm not going to go into too much of the detail what happened.
They've asked us not to explain in detail everything that happens. So we're doing a really good job of trying to broad stroke this so that we don't give away all their things. It's very important to that organization to keep all their stuff thing. So if you hear us not going into great detail about something and why I don't ask them about those certain things, it's because let's have those punches that they want to pull during that program. Let's keep those fresh for them. I think that's just being respectful of that organization.
Yeah, it's definitely a respectful thing. That, and if I give too much information right now and one day you decide to go do that, or you had even said you're going to go do it or whatnot, it ruins that moment for 100%.
You. 100%. I agree.
So that's why I'm going to keep it broad. But watching the YouTube videos, you can kind of tell some of the stuff is going on, So those are the things that I'm going to hit on. Yeah. Like your first thing, you have to line up, right?
At the hotel.
At the hotel, they line you up. I wish I could tell you something that happens there, but I don't want to ruin it for that. But then, you have to go out to the bus, right? So everyone goes out and there's 4 buses because there was 40 of us there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, bro, it was awesome. It was really awesome.
You could have had a real military unit, 40 people?
Yeah, I mean, it was ran like a real military thing, man. Like,
dude,
for
40
real.
People's a lot.
Yeah.
How many coaches were there?
Oh boy. 6.
For 40 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bro, the coaches, and then there's also volunteers that help out and stuff behind the scenes and stuff. But the coaches they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
They've been through some shit.
Yeah.
They have.
So they line you up.
Yeah.
4 buses.
Yep. And there's different different rows. There's 4 separate rows, 10 in each row, obviously. I shouldn't say obviously. There's 10 in each row. But they're very this is what we're doing, right? And right down to the whole black stuff, right? There's a reason behind that. And that other reason is they tell you exactly what to bring. Don't bring any more, right? so don't bring any more. Because if they find out there's more, then there's consequences for that, right? Just like the whole military boot camp type thing, you know. And it's pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty cool. It gets frustrating.
And you like that because you hate a bunch of choices. You hate a bunch of choices,
bro. That's why I think
most people's anxieties are that. You ever see like people go into a restaurant and they get a menu that has like 30 pages in it, and they're like, I don't know, I don't even want to eat here.
Yeah, I go, what's the special?
Yeah, what do you like? That's your fat. I know what you know is good. I'm getting that.
Yep. You hear me ask them all the time.
Too.
If you were ordering, what would you order?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Order me that. You know. Yeah, and I honestly think that's why when I'm most successful with you is when you give me a list to accomplish.
And it's not even how I work, so it's hard for me.
Yeah. You can just go by the... I can do that too, but I'll tell you right now, I'm only going to get a fraction done of what I would do if you gave me a list.
Fair.
You know? And it's amazing how many people can't follow simple instruction.
Ooh, interesting. Right off the bat.
Right off the get.
They thought, well, I'm just going to bring this knapsack or my backpack or
sunglasses.
Or
a hat. Or whatever. You know? Like
some rebels in the group need to be broken.
You just think, hey, that's all right. It's acceptable. Everybody wears a hat. They didn't really mean don't bring a hat. They didn't really mean don't wear sunglasses. They were just saying, hey, you got to have this stuff with you.
They send those people back up to the room, or they just bring the stuff.
I mean, you put it in a box. You know, they don't steal it from you like that. I mean, steal your stuff.
This is profit to Rise Up King's bottom dollar.
Well, you can buy it back at the end of it, or it's going to be on Facebook Marketplace. One of the two.
You get store credit to another Rise Up King.
But I mean, it's crazy because I take that for granted because I do follow rules.
Yeah.
If you tell me, hey Ryan, don't put this on the credit card, you don't ever have to worry about that being on the credit card.
There's some rules that you are absolutely, and I'm like, hey bro, that's just a hard and fast rule. Like, you know, like it's okay, and you'll be like, nope, you said this, it's not this, blah blah. And then other times you're like, no one's looking. I'm like no one's looking. But
I don't know. My conscience gets to me too much, though. I end up telling on myself
things though. If you had a plan, you don't do anything. You could never commit a crime and plan. You could do crimes in the moment. You could be that guy, but you would never be able to plan a bank heist.
No.
You would never be able. Your conscience is just.
Yep.
And
there would be too many scenarios for me.
Yeah. In the moment, I think
maybe that's why I'm good at putting fires out.
Yeah, you hate more knowledge.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out when I get there. Don't tell me stuff about this customer or how the project. I'll just figure it out when I get there.
Yeah, I don't need to know anything. What's the address and their first name?
They're not paying. This is why I'm gonna go out there.
Yeah. You give me too much stuff, man. And we just talked about this 2 weeks ago, I think.
Correct.
One of the office gals was giving me all this information, and then I started asking more questions that wasn't even relevant.
Chris and Sierra was like, well, why
I wasn't going to throw him under the bus.
No, I mean, he's been on the podcast before, and I'd love to get Sierra when she's done healing from just giving birth to her new son, Lucas.
Congratulations.
As soon as she's done with that, I'd love to have her perspective and stuff because she thinks a lot differently than we do.
Bro.
And like completely different. You and I can see where we would be coming from. She thinks just
it's black and white for her though. There's no gray.
You think a rule follower? That is a rule follower.
Yeah.
There is no like, well, I did. No, I got strict permission to do this only. If I tell everyone go out and spend $50 at lunch, she's like, we have to make this bill exactly $50.
Yeah.
She is like
not $50.10. That's 10 cents too much.
She's like on it. So there's some people. Now, do you think that some of the people wore sunglasses and hats to see if they could get away with that and like try to be like special? Or do you think that they were just not ready for what this was?
Look, it is funny that you would ask me that question because I started thinking, even at the last day, I was like, are some of these setups, like, were they instructed to do this? Because they couldn't be actually doing this still. Like,
It happened multiple days.
Huh? Oh, yeah, it wasn't just day one,
Stop
bro.
it.
I swear. I swear I was like, at day 3 it happened. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? And it was like
on the bus, standing perfectly, and you're like, idiots. Like, I'm ready.
like day 3, but it's funny because one of their sayings, which I'd feel comfortable saying, is that, you know, how else does this show up in your life? You know, and if you think about that, if you start justifying everything that you're doing, what else are you doing in life that you're justifying, saying, hey, it's A-okay, man.
Slippery slope.
You know? But I was sitting there on day 3 and someone had done something and it was like, boom. Like, are you kidding me? And then immediately after that, I was like, he was told to do that. There's no way he did that and not be told to do it, because it was plain as day we were not to do this.
But he or she got punished.
That's not how it works.
Or the group got punished. That's how they do a boot camp. Yeah. And you would think there's
come
no
on,
way.
Bro.
We would get mollywopped back at the hotel after
I
we get back.
low-key thought about beating his
Yeah,
ass.
I mean, why wouldn't you? That really happens in boot camp. They'll beat up the retarded person. I can't say retarded. The stupid person.
Ignorant.
An ignorant one that makes them do more push-ups.
Yeah.
You know, they'll beat that dude up at the end of the day to try to enforce, don't stand out, do exactly how we do, don't fall behind, don't get ahead with the group.
Yep. And everything is for a reason.
Ooh, I like it.
You will find that out real quick. Everything is done for a reason.
I like it. I'm going to come and when I go, I'm going to be so precise.
Bro, I hope you go.
So precise.
I really do hope you go.
So precise.
I honestly think everybody here should go.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how much and you know how I am. Like, I'm like, bro, nah, it wasn't worth it. Or, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of times when I think about sending people to that, there's more to it than just, do I have the monetary system to send them to that thing? It's not, because you usually get it back, right? You'll be more successful in the future, thus saving my return on investment, you know, whatever. But when I want to send certain people, those certain people are too, they're bringing sunglasses and hats.
Yeah.
And they're not going to go to Texas and be without their families for that long.
Yeah.
The people that would really
benefit
from that. And that's part of my, and we try to do group trips and group things like that. And there's always a couple people and they're just like, I can't because of this or blah, 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 blah. Those are the people I want to send the most.
Those are the people that come back black and blue, though. Oof.
Yeah. They're going to get broken.
That'd be good for them.
Can I tell you something? I thought maybe there was a chance that you were going to be like, nah, dude, I just didn't even do it. I just chilled out in Texas for a while and came back.
Okay.
I really I thought maybe this dude, I thought maybe they weren't going to be as professional because, like, you know, summer camp stuff, there's grades to summer camps. We have summer camps here in Fort Wayne that you send your kids to. Some of them are just a bunch of fat white people tell them go play on the swing sets for 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Some of them, you know, they learn how to build soapbox race cars and archery and how to start a fire from scratch and all that kind of like enrichment stuff. And I thought, well, if it's going to be like the low tier, these guys aren't going to come correct and gain his respect instantly, then it's not going to be. And I was like, then they're going to tell him, you know, he's fat or stupid or too good or whatever, and instantly being like, peace. I'm driving the bus back.
I would be lying to you if after day 1 I didn't sit in that room thinking, there's no way in hell I'm going tomorrow. Like, it crossed my mind. I was like, I can't. I literally said, I don't think I can do this.
No way.
Yeah, and I'm not.
And you're a hard dude.
I'm not one that likes. I don't quit usually.
No.
Like, there are some things I'm like, yeah, I'm good, you know. But, bro, mentally, physically, emotionally, I was spent.
Let's get into it.
I was like, nah, I don't even want to talk about it. You know, not right now, I'm saying, but I don't even want to talk about this anymore type thing. Like, and then I was like, it's funny because it actually goes back to the very first time I did 75 hard. Remember why I told you why I did it?
Because I said you wouldn't.
Because you said I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I thought, maybe he thinks I can't do this.
I'd be honest
And I
with
was
you,
like,
I thought,
I'm not gonna lose. Like, I'm going all in. Like, I have to. I don't have a choice right
I
now.
didn't box you in like I normally do. Be like, you must go, or if you
No.
don't go,
You told me I didn't have to.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
whatever. And usually when I'm trying to make you do stuff that you don't necessarily want to do, I go, if you don't do this exactly, then you will accompany this much monetary fucking punishment, blah, 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 or just so you don't have an easy out. That's
Yeah.
why I try to box you in like that. Because you do hold up your end of the bargain every time.
My favorite is when you say you're gonna put a month's worth of wages up on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's happening. If Ryan agrees to anything like that, you can just write the check. It's fine.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
And so I want to get into it. I want to get into there's some group things that happened
Sure.
with people wearing sunglasses or hats or whatever they had. Anybody wearing headphones or anything like that?
No.
I thought maybe like, what if they try
no.
to like get pumped for this and they're like down there listening to their iPods or something. So you guys get to what I assume is desert because that's pretty much what's around there. Or did you guys go to a luscious green place or
No, it was woods.
woods?
Yeah, woods.
Texas woods, known for their gentleness.
You know, bears and snakes. Like, do you know how many rattlesnakes are in Texas?
A bunch. I killed
Yeah.
one. Remember I showed that video where I
yeah,
killed that
that's
one
right,
in
when
Texas.
you were bear hunting.
Yeah. Well, I was turkey hunting and turned into a wildebeest hunt.
That's what it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
I suck at turkey hunting, so I killed a wildebeest way slower. And I killed a rattlesnake. There's a bunch of them out there.
And I was just talking to a brother this morning, actually, and he got poison ivy pretty bad out there. So I didn't even
Everything's
think about
prickly. The grass is prickly.
it. Yeah.
It sucks.
It-
Crawling around the ground turkey hunting, I mean, everything. We think like those little birds that we get when we hunt or trek.
Oh, yeah, those are nothing compared to the ones out there. Yeah.
Nothing. People don't understand that. They are nothing compared to the average just weeds that they have there.
Yeah.
Nothing. I mean, everything is like a mini cactus. It's crazy.
Yep.
But that's the only thing I know about Texas. Being out there in the 100-degree heat every day doing turkey hunting was...
Really, Texas, you know how I'll go to a place, like I've done this with you several times, man, I want to live here. You know?
Yeah.
Like when we went to Georgia and did that
Yes.
fly fishing, I was like, man, I want to live here. Go to Jacksonville with you. Oh, man, I want to live here. Everywhere I go, I'd be like, anywhere but Indiana. Like, I want, nope, I'll take Indiana.
Nope.
I'm not doing Texas. I'm
Texas,
good.
too much.
Yep. Not a fan.
So you get off the bus
Yeah.
and
And it starts.
it starts. It begins.
There's
And
no
it's not
slow
like
roll to it
There's no
either.
slow roll to
No.
it. They're not like, hey guys, this is what today's itinerary is. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z.
You don't know what you're doing from minute to minute.
really. They just
Even sometimes when you're doing it, you don't even know what the hell you're doing, bro. That's like how like messed up you are. Like it takes a lot to break me mentally. Right? Physically, I mean, come on, you can break me physically pretty easily. You know, if you really put it down. I'll keep coming at you, but I'm not going to be as aggressive as it goes. But mentally, it's pretty hard to get to me. When you do, though, you do. I mean, you've experienced it. You know, I've broken down on you before. Man, they know how to do it.
start you. Can we say intense physical
Yes.
stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
And was it like can we say runs or can we say like
Up
it
hills.
was
Yeah.
runs of 40 people?
Yes.
Or they break out. Everyone together all the time?
Everyone together all the
Doing
time.
the same thing every single time?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yep.
Because I thought, how do you get 40 people to do, we'll jump ahead, like if they're doing ice things or whatever, like how do
Sure.
they get 40 people?
That stuff,
That
what you
stuff
just
will-
said there, that's in
okay.
rotation.
Okay.
But,
But I'm like, I mean, I knew there was going to be some runs and are people working at their own pace? Like, let's say like there's a run right after we get on the bus.
yeah. Yeah.
What happens? There's obviously some dudes that are just cocky
Sure.
and fit. These are successful business people, all of them in their own right.
Yeah.
They might own a gas
100%.
station, but like in their own right, they're all.
You
like,
got to be
pretty
somewhat successful to be able to go do that
It's kind of
in the
yeah.
middle of the week.
Correct.
You know, when everybody else is out grinding and you're out, well, you're grinding, but you're not getting paid to be out
No,
there.
you're paying to be
you
out there.
spent money to go do this.
And
you
so,
know?
like, imagine there's people, but they all make you maintain pace with everybody, or is there some people that fall? Because I mean, if me and you run, you're in a little bit better shape than me. Like, you're gonna make it a little bit further than I would at the same jog.
They do let you. I mean, they're not sitting there whooping you. You know, you find yourself wanting to compete anyways. You know, on your own and try to maintain.
Did you find out that you could run middle of the pack most of the time?
Bro, I was probably on the slower end. Not probably. I was on the slower end for sure. Compared to some of these guys that were out there, there were some studs out there, really.
Even some of these like 50, 60-year-olds I see out there.
They're studs.
Studs.
But what's cool about it is,
like, if your dad was,
they meet you where you're at. You're right.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be a stud to be out there. Okay. You're gonna get the same experience. Okay. If you
That's
allow,
good for people thinking about doing this. I mean, you know,
I've got a torn ACL, torn meniscus, and I've had back surgery
and hard stuff.
Yeah, I was in the emergency room 3 days before I left. You know, so that's what's really good is, I mean, they do meet you where you're at, and if you communicate with them, you know, you can do, like myself, I can't do a burpee, right? I just can't. My back and my knee would not allow me to do it. Can I do a modified burpee? Yes, and they're cool with that. You know, so that's what I did.
Nice.
You know, yeah.
So, what part can you get in about day one?
Man, the whole experience is like, I know it sounds cliche to say life-changing, but it's life-changing. You know, it opens your eyes to a lot of things. Even while you're in there doing the nitty-gritty physical stuff, you realize that there's a reason why you're doing this, right? And it brings you closer to who you want to be as a person, even.
I got that from the YouTube videos a lot. When they would break these people down into certain points at those impasse points where, like, they're, you know, if you look at the YouTube, they're spraying them with a hose in the face. Or, you know, we've talked about maybe doing the ice challenges, and then
you and I are
running we are doing a future ice challenge. I don't know if I could do 14 minutes. If you actually did 14 minutes.
We're doing it, bro.
But I think they yell at these people for responses, and they keep doing this until you give them a response. And the whole idea is to get you out of your comfort zone, so it's not a fabricated thing. It's an in the moment, what you're feeling, what there. You know, most people think that we do it for the money. We do it for pride, or we do it for, you know, some people don't do it for their family. Some people, you know, do it for other reasons. And so whatever your reason was, they kind of like foster that, and they kind of solidify that.
That's what's cool too, is like that group out there. There were single dads out there. There was married couples out there.
Really?
It was all over the place. There was divorced people. I mean, the whole 9 yards. And that's what makes it neat, is because at the end of the day, we all could come together and have one common ground, and that was to survive the day. One common ground to become a better person, you know? And that's really their focus, is to become a better person. I mean,
to level you up.
What's that?
To level you up.
Yeah. In all aspects of life. And that's what, you know, it's their focus just is not on religion.
No.
Their focus is not just on finance or business, you know. It's all 4 pillars of your life, you know. And they really, really dig in and get you to open up and get your inner self talking. You know, get those emotions out, get those demons out, and bring them to light. Because a lot of us bury what we're fighting. It's a lot easier to be like, yeah, you know, hey, listen, I know I'm a terrible dad. Okay, but I've got to do this, and this to be able to provide for my kids. So I accept being a terrible dad, and I'm just going to move on and keep doing what I'm doing, right?
Living in quiet desperation.
Yeah. But you can still do all those things you need to do to provide for your family and still try to be a better dad, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what's really cool, is that they can bring that out of you.
Yeah. So, can you tell us anything about the physical stuff that you did the first day? Push-ups and burpees and running, or
push-ups, burpees, running, ice baths.
First day ice baths.
Oh, bro.
First day.
It was like, we're breaking you. Let's go ahead and do it.
First day.
Yeah.
Can't imagine 2 more days.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's why I was laying in.
2 more days.
And then what's even crazier
They
is
slow roll you out there.
like they make it earlier in the morning the next day, and you're like, wait, bro, can't we start at
time.
noon again?
Yeah.
Like,
More
noon's
time for
good with
physical
me.
punishment.
Like, perfect. Let's do it noon. But no, we'll have you out there at 7 a.m. You know, like, ugh. You know, but it's you know what's really crazy is the days are long, and I'm not going to tell you like how long, but they're long.
Yeah.
But you don't even realize it. Like at the end of it, at the end of day 3, you're like, I could do this every day for the rest of my life if it stayed like this.
Interesting. I thought that you were taking it 100% after the no communication. Because, I don't know, we bounce off each other a lot.
Yeah.
And for you to go radio dark for 2 days
3
is
days.
Well, I mean, the day that, or I guess I'm counting the days that you got there versus that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the end of the 3rd day. It's technically 2 full 24-hour periods of nothing from Ryan Trouten. And I was like, oh shit, what did I send him to?
You know what? That was a very hard thing to do because I am tethered to that thing.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all are.
But I didn't even miss it. Like when I got back and I looked down, I didn't even open half of my messages because I didn't even want to see them. Like I didn't want to lose focus of where I was at. That's the truth. And I was like, these things are the devil.
Yeah.
Straight up, they're the devil because
Necessary evil in our lives.
they are.
Mm-hmm.
And you will never be able to get rid of them again. Never. You know, but what I did learn is how you can control them a bit. You know, you can control them. You don't have to have that thing on you all the time.
No.
You don't. Look, did the company keep running?
Yeah.
Did sales keep coming in?
Yeah.
Is my family still intact?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's good. The world didn't end. You know? So if you could just take that thing and set it down a little bit every day, you know?
I'm looking forward to those lessons you can teach me.
Well, think about what kind of impact it would even have on, like...
I charge it 3 times a day now.
Oh, yeah, easily.
3 times a day.
Yeah,
From
100%.
dead to full. Every
Yep.
day. I charge this phone.
Yep.
Because I just on it.
Yeah.
I mean, most of my job is communication.
It
but
is. 100% our jobs are... That's how I talk to sales reps. That's how I talk to Sierra. That's how I send orders. I mean, everything is done through that phone, right? But I even think about it as, you know, I'll get a little deep with you and I here. Even when we're sitting at your desk having a conversation, how many times are we interrupted by that phone?
All the time.
Right? What kind of communication are we having, really? It's not genuine. It's broken.
It is broken up.
You know, and what moments are we missing there? You know, like even if you don't take it financially, bro.
Okay.
Take it business. Like you and I do our best brainstorming together, sitting at that desk and just bouncing ideas off of each other, right? How much better would our ideas be if we could set this to the side and not worry about this thing?
Yeah.
You know, and spend 100% of our time focused on each other and getting to the meats and potatoes of what we want to accomplish.
But that's why I think like this podcast platform is so necessary for me.
Bro, for 3 years you've been saying, I want to start a podcast.
Think of all the content
You even said,
we missed
oh, bro.
over the last...
The best, probably,
because of
honestly.
The best, honestly. We made it to the top now. We can talk about stuff. Like, dude, the struggle would have been... I didn't have $10,000 worth of podcast equipment and things like that at that time, but like I could have done anything. But I really am liking the one-on-one time. They've been mostly employees. I've had Chad on, the vice president of Lake City, and
Yep.
you know, and I'll have some of the more well-to-do people here, and you know, my dad said he's going to do one. Things
That'd be a
outside
great
the
one.
company would be great, but those 2 or 3 hours that I get of undefined, you know, no phone, no nothing, just I'm in there and I'm getting to know them, you know, and they're getting 100% of me. And a lot of the people that are watching this, a lot of the people that either work here or, secondary people, they watch this. I never knew this about you. I never knew that about you, because it's different. Like if we're in the office, we get that, pleasantries through, and then I'm on to the next thing.
Right.
I don't get to anything meaningful. I make a couple jokes. I walk through the office. I touch people inappropriately, you and Jimmy, and then, I go back to doing whatever I was doing before. And you don't get that, but I get the 2 hours. Yes, it benefits the brand. Yes, it benefits the person I'm talking to, and all that stuff. But like, I literally benefits me of having a 2 to 3 hour conversation where we see where it goes. And I've had some podcasts that last 45 minutes to an hour, and I've had a couple last 3 hours.
Right.
And I don't get that normally because we have wives, kids, work. Just have so much going on.
It's hard to balance it all sometimes.
And that all gets in the way. So that's why I like coming in here. Now we're doing it pretty early today, but like most of the time it's 9, 10 o'clock at night. Everybody's gone home. Wish it was cooler. I'm sure everyone can see the sweat in 4K.
Feels like I'm in Texas.
But I've really enjoyed this medium of talking to people. I hate talking to people on the phone. I'm good at it. Very good at it. But I hate it. I like text messages because it allows me for a response really quickly. This is the best medium for communication that I think that's out there right now, because you can just, the small amount of editing for potty breaks and things like that, it's all just unfiltered, going back and forth, letting a conversation develop normally. Are we more professional on this and we don't go crazy? Sure, but like, you're getting most of us 100% of how we would be if you were at our desk 30 yards away right now.
Right.
So they're making you do that stuff. The phones thing, the being untethered from the phone was huge.
Yeah. That's the one thing that if I could look at you right now and say, the one thing that I want to give up in life, out of all the things I could pick, it would probably be that phone. Because like the clarity that I had, not being interrupted all the time, having that moment to reflect and not be worried about what Facebook notification I just got, or what Snapchat I just got, or what email I just got, text. It's so distracting. Like right now we're talking and I keep looking down at it, see if it's light up at all.
Oh, we're trained, bro.
Yeah, even when that thing's on complete silent, I know it's going off. Yeah, it's ridiculous, But that's the one thing that I got. I can't remember if it was day 1 or day 2. It doesn't matter. I spent a moment 30, 40 minutes completely by myself.
Out in the field or in the hotel room?
Out in the middle of the woods.
Okay.
And it was the best 40 minutes of my life, I think. Because I know it sounds weird to say or whatnot to some people, but you can hear, like, I struggle with my faith life, right? But I literally sat there and was like, man, God, if you got anything to tell me, can you just like speak up a little bit, like say it louder for the guy here, And like I spent that moment just listening, and you can, dude, like you can listen and you can hear, it might be, that's why I was telling somebody, I was like, man, it's, I jotted some things down, but I didn't want them to seem like they were corny, right? Like, that's pretty fictitious, like that's made up or whatever, But I was like, you know what? Let them think it's fictitious or corny, because this is really how I'm feeling right now, I'm not doing this for the other guy. I'm doing this for me. So who cares what they think, And that's a hard thing for me to grasp, because I'm always worried about what people think. Always, And I honestly could care less. Like, well, think about it. The whole T-shirt thing. How many times have you invited me over to the pool or the hot tub? What do I always have on?
T-shirt.
T-shirt, always. You know, and that's that low self-esteem in me, right? But when I was there, and the things that we had to do and stuff like that,
Believe it.
huh?
I couldn't believe it.
No, but it's not me. But I finally had that breakthrough. It was like, you know what? I gotta stop caring what people think. Got to, because how much is that holding you back?
It really is. And if I could add something to that, I don't know when Devon's podcast, when it will come out, if it will come back. We got deep on that, a lot of meta stuff. He's my personal trainer.
Oh,
And we had, even after the podcast, a breakdown of stuff. And especially, it's not just the black community, but they have and the Mexican for sure, the Latino, they have such a pride thing, and that pride really goes on to that self-esteem, that caring what people think, respect. They all need that, want that, and we and you've talked about throughout the entirety of our relationship is, I just don't care. I want people to be happy. I want to do good for them, so they'll be better, and if they like me in the process, that's awesome. But I don't care. You've seen me take my shirt off. I send pictures of my naked body to you. I don't care. Like
shower pictures.
I don't care. I do not care. If it made you laugh, it was worth it. I don't do it for no reason. But like, if simple things like that can bring people happiness and do whatever, I don't care. I asked today, in the Canvas thing, I think it was the Canvas meeting. And they go, we've never seen you without a beard. And I go, I look like a fat lesbian. That's what I look like. I mean, I look like lesbian Val Kilmer. I look terrible. And I go, do you guys want to see it? And everyone's like, yeah. And Jimmy's like, don't do what I've seen. It looks terrible. No,
I've got a picture I could show you.
Yeah, I mean, like, it doesn't look good. I look like I have a van for sure. I look like I have a van, blacked out windows. It's not good. And but I just don't care. But if it's fun for somebody or whatever, then what? I mean, I don't care. Most of the comments on like Instagram when I do this stuff, they're like, "Cool, you should let your beard grow in more because you don't have a jawline and things like that." I'm like, okay.
Someone made that comment.
Oh yeah. Oh
wow.
yeah. Oh yeah. I don't care.
I don't shows care. Their insecurities too, though.
Yeah. But again, I don't know who hurt him.
Right.
But I don't care. But you are right. Getting back to your original point, if you can give up that being self-conscious about what people think about you, if you can give all that pride up, you'll be way more successful. And I do not care what field you are in.
Right.
Anything.
Yeah.
You can still be successful and have all the pride, for sure. Okay? There's UFC fighters out there, they're only filled with pride, and they go out there 100%. They get that respect, they demand that respect, and they go out there and whoop ass. But if you can forego all those things of having to maintain a persona on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat, if you have to be done people pleasing and be the best gift giver and be the best most helpful person when people move, and wear the clothes that people think that you look the best in, and all those things that are just noise, if you can get rid of all, you can be way more successful. Way more.
Well, think about it. No matter what you do, you can't control how people think about you.
No.
And if you do gravitate towards one person's thinking to please them, right? Not only are you not pleasing yourself anymore, but there's still someone over here rooting against you.
Always. So
why don't you just be the person you are and let it all out?
Yeah.
And see where it takes you. Like if you have any will at all to win, you should count on yourself, right? Yeah, you need a team behind you, But at the end of the day, I mean, it's on you.
No one gets. We're not saying that you. No one gets successful alone.
No, absolutely
Okay?
not. No.
It's never happened.
Bro, I mean, that's how I win. My sales team is pretty damn successful.
You're not going out there and making 90% of
No.
those. Okay.
No.
You're not touching. 90%
I surround
of those.
myself by people that win.
Same with my family, my friends. Obviously, all my friends fucking work here. Of course, I wouldn't be successful without them. Like, no one gets successful by themselves. That being said, at the end, chips fall where they may. If you can't rely on yourself to piece all that stuff together, it's going to be rough.
Sure.
It's going to be rough. You have to get lucky then.
But here's what's dope about that. Because we all are going to hit rock bottom, right? One way or another, we're going to have...
So? You think most people hit rock bottom?
In one way or another. I'm not talking about just financially.
Okay. I wasn't talking about financially either.
I mean, think about the divorce rate. You know, think about the fights with families. There's all kinds of things that we all face. We don't win.
I guess there's always a new rock bottom.
Yeah.
Too.
I shouldn't say rock bottom.
Yeah, because like that just.
I say we
that.
all.
I figure like you're living on my couch and you have one pair of
That's
clothes.
rock bottom.
Like that's
Yeah,
rock bottom, right? But like maybe
Or
rock
you're
bottom for you is you lost your kids for 9, 10, 12 weeks because you're going through a divorce, and that's rock bottom right now. But then if you lose your house on top of that, then that's a new rock bottom. And then if you lose your car on top of that, that's a new rock bottom. But like, yeah, I guess.
Let's say difficult struggles, right? Or whatever. What's cool about that is not only do you get to overcome those things, but you find out who's really there rooting for you for the right reasons.
Always.
You know? Because that guy that's going to come help you out when you're really struggling.
When you can provide nothing in return.
Right. Or don't want to provide anything in return, you know? That's the guy you want there when you're winning.
Yes. That deserves to be there when you're winning, 100%. For sure.
100%.
Yeah, no, I definitely the one of the greatest stories for that is, Jimmy. I moved, and we weren't even that good of friends, and he just kept on that, dropping me lines like every few months. Like, I just went to his wedding, and that was pretty much it. Hung out a few times, drank a few beers, that kind of stuff, and then kept on just being like, "Wish you'd move back," and I'm like, "Why does this fat Mexican want me to move back?" Like,
poor Jimmy.
Like, I'm sorry, I'm fat too. I don't care. But he just kept dropping this line, and then we went through stages when I moved back. Like, I lived in a trailer, and he lived in an apartment. And he would still come out. He helped me move out of the trailer, and pick up. I mean, we fitted a kitchen table inside of a Zuzu Trooper, and if you don't know what a Zuzu Trooper is, they don't fit kitchen tables. And then moving into a little better apartment, he was there, and then he lost his job, and I was there. I lived in an apartment. I wasn't like doing that much better than him, but like at least I had a job and an apartment, so now I was doing a little bit better. And then he got a really good job at a cell phone store, and then I got fired from my dad's place, and then he helped me out again. Like, we went back and forth through all those things. And it's like, it's nice to finally both be winning, then at the end, that's just the most clear-cut dry of that stuff. 2 DUIs, many years ago. But like,
did you almost like die in one even? Didn't you?
Family didn't talk to me. Most of my friends, since I had no money because I had DUIs, didn't want to talk to me. Jimmy still drove me to the court cases. Still drove me around and dropped me off at school.
Still bought you some beers.
Didn't bought me alcohol. Kept me on a straight and narrow. That kind of stuff. And you do want those people there.
You need them.
So,
we're all going to face things eventually.
Oh my God, it's so much easier to face it with a group of people who actually care about you. Oh, it's so much.
With no motive.
With no motive. And that's hard for you. Because you believe.
Everybody has a motive.
Everybody has a motive.
Yep.
Did you come to anything during that stuff with any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Broad strokes on that?
It's hard for me to accept the fact that somebody would love you just to love you.
Did you start with the relationship with God first and then you worked your way back, or was it the opposite way around?
You talking about on this experience?
Yeah. Just the new information from this experience. Me and you will always go back and forth with trying to figure out our relationship forever.
Right.
But like with it's a faith-based thing with pillars on family and friends and business and relationship with God. So
Yeah. I can't tell you exactly what happened.
yeah.
For me personally, because again, that would possibly ruin it for somebody else, right? But it was day 2, so the whole first day, I still had my walls up, right? Like, I broke a little bit at night.
Not even during the stuff.
I'm talking the first night. I apologize. I broke a little bit on that first night, but I quickly was like, nope, you got in. I'm not. You're
Nice
done.
try.
You're
Nice
going out
try,
the back
the
door
devil.
now, bud. You know, like, we're over. That was fun while it lasted, guys. And day 2, towards the end of day 2, there was a real raw experience. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
They're definitely. It's like another baptism almost. It's like
Yeah, it was.
when
It
you
was
get exposed like that. Is raw.
Yeah. There was a comment made by a coach. And I said, I got you. And that's when I opened up right then. And yeah. Just want to tell you the whole thing right now, but
Yeah, we're
it's
gonna be respectful of the Rise
Yeah.
Up Kings again.
but
But we also want to give the people the motivation to do this. So if we can give broad strokes on this.
like just that experience, that moment right there
Day 2 at night.
would be enough to make anybody want to go.
Yeah.
If they really knew what I
Can
felt.
you give a broad strokes of how you were feeling the because it's almost like a mix, right? Because it's like almost like this sadness. And
it was sad.
yeah,
sad.
it's almost like a sadness when you get exposed. Maybe I'm not saying exposed like that. When you get raw, is a better word that you used.
Yeah,
Can you say the topic of you were getting what you were getting? Were you getting raw internally? Were you getting raw about a certain type of thing?
that moment,
Family, friends, God.
that moment, it brought my real demon that's inside out.
Wow. And you're
Like,
a fan of therapy, and
Yeah.
that was more than that
Oh.
would ever do?
That, I mean, a therapist did never touch the surface compared with
Really?
that dude. Yeah, bro. Like, it's scary, right? And then what was even crazier was there was this coach that I didn't like the way he carried him. You know how I am. Like, I get once I get an opinion
Yeah.
about you, that's the way you are. You know what I mean? Like, if I think you're a thief, no matter what.
True.
You know, if I think you're lying to me, you're a liar. You know, like, you can't change my thinking. It's very hard for me to change my thinking about someone once I get an impression on them, right? And there was this coach. He would probably laugh, but thought he was super arrogant, prick. Like, what? You get paid good money to be here because it obviously doesn't seem like you really want to be here. He was an asshole, dude. That's what I thought, right? And yeah, that dude, like, he brought it all out, and it was
By giving you friction, he brought it out?
no, by being there for me.
So then at the time,
That was the first time, I think, because I even looked at you. I've looked at you and said, what's your intentions with me?
Yeah.
You know, and we've been friends for a while.
a minute.
And I'm like, why are you doing this? What's your motive? I say that all the time. What's your motive, right? And that was the first time that I thought, and I know you love me. That's the first time I was like, damn, this dude ain't got nothing in it for him. You know?
They already got their money.
And the embrace, bro, like, unreal.
Yeah. It's almost childlike when you get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've experienced that a couple. With you, I've experienced it too.
Yeah. But it was I just want to dump it all out, but it because I can't put it into words like how much that moment changed me. And then it was like my whole life flashed before me type thing. Like my previous life flashed right before me, and I'm like,
Previous lives.
yeah, bro, I've had a lot of them.
You've had a bunch of them.
I'm all over the place. Like I'm bipolar, bro.
Not bipolar, but
When it comes to things I do, like I'm all over the spectrum.
you're all in every time on one thing,
Oh yeah, 100%.
and not a bunch of to live 2 lives at once. Like is probably the max, but you've lived 20 lives.
Sometimes I wonder.
Now, did you get to that? How do they get you to that place? In so many words, is it because other people are being forthcoming, and then you feel like the spirit sort of thing, which I find a lot. When people in church, raise your hand if you need extra whatever love, and you come to the front of the church, and they kind of give you that extra stuff that
Pray
helps a lot
for
of
you.
people. Is it a physical exertion where you're just you don't have any dog left in the fight, and you're too weak to fight it, so you open like a flower, or I'm trying to get it broad strokes so that way we don't ruin the things.
Right.
Or is it were they talking to you,
No.
and then they weren't talking to you? No. Because that's another thing that pastors are really good about, invoking that emotional response.
It was. I'll tell you this much on this part. They tell you what to go do. Right, and they give you a couple questions to ask yourself. Okay. By yourself, not nobody around. You're all by yourself, completely by yourself. 40 men are spread out all through this area. Okay. And they ask you a couple questions to ask yourself, and put it down on paper, right? And you go, and you do what they tell you to do. And it's not no weird culty stuff, right? That they have you do, but they do have you do a certain thing before they do it. It's not prayer, it's not anything like that, but it's getting yourself
Self-talk a lot.
Yeah,
of those
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
A lot of those things are self-talk.
Yep. And then you ask yourself those questions, and you just set, right? Which you do a lot of setting. I think they do that for you to give you a little bit of a rest too from all the exercise.
From killing yourself.
But they asked on this particular exercise, they asked you to write out some things, right? And I had to sit there and I had to think. And I was like, man, I've never let nobody in. To know me, the real me, you know what I think you need to know. But I've never let nobody in. And here's what's crazy. At the end of it, you realize that you're not the only person that thinks that way. A lot of people don't let people in.
It's one of the most beautiful things about these group things is that, and I think that's why religion is really successful too in itself, is that the struggles that you think are your own, you're not special.
You're not special, bro.
You're not. You make yourself into this.
You play victim.
You're a titan of industry. You're a bad dude. You're big. You're famous. Or you're, the best dude at whatever. And you have all these struggles underneath all these things. And you're like, no one will understand because no one else goes through anything that I've gone through before. And that's what makes me me. And I wear this like this because I have particular struggles that nobody goes through, and so that's why I can't connect with people.
Yeah.
Which turns out to be completely false.
Well, here's something crazy that I'll throw out there because nobody knows who I'm talking about. But for myself personally, I have obviously I anybody that knows me halfway knows that I have a very messed up relationship, let's say, with my kids, right?
Tumultuous at times. Big word. I just want to throw
Yeah, I
it.
know.
Go
Do you
on.
got Google?
Yep.
What did you just say to me?
Tumultuous.
You know, like, honestly, I haven't talked to my middle daughter in, God, I don't know how long. It was at least probably 5 or 6 years, bro. You know? My youngest daughter, I haven't talked to her in a minute, right? My son, we talk, you know, here and there type thing, but I haven't talked to him in, I take that back. We just were talking the other day on text, but I haven't physically seen him in over a year, right? And I created that scenario. I'm not going to say that they didn't do it. I did it, right? But I thought I was the only one that had kids that didn't talk to them, right? Bro, do you know how many dads out there that have relationships or lack of relationships with their kids? Like, I thought this whole entire time that I was the only dad ever that their kids hate them. And that's not true, you know? There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of the common things that everybody struggles with, but it was an eye-opener to me that you're not special, dude. You got the same demons, you got the same problem, you got everything else. They all face them, right? But we are real quick to play victim. You know, we don't hold ourselves accountable for what we've done, you know? Because it's a lot easier to blame somebody else. A lot easier. And I'd have the best relationship in the world with my kids if they would just do this. You know? Why is it their responsibility?
So that was the second night. Then the kid stuff.
No, that came to me like
Day one.
realistically listening to people talk after the first day.
First day.
Yeah. Because some people opened up a lot faster.
Oh yeah, some people are. I mean, you're one of the hardest dudes I've ever met.
I don't like to open
Dude,
up.
you're one of the hardest dudes.
Well, I'm not going to give you ammo to use against me.
Yeah, you hate when people have leverage.
Yeah. It's not my
And
thing.
everything those situations, like, you know, if you didn't trust that organization, that's a lot of leverage they could use against you to manipulate you and things like that. Obviously, at some point you trust them and do all that kind of stuff, but like when you're compromised, then you know you're compromised. You know,
I wish, looking back, the only thing I regret about that whole entire experience was for me taking so long to break down, to open up.
but think about it differently. If you'd have opened up, would you have been as real as yourself, and then not had that emotional experience
really
in the second,
came out?
when it really came out?
Yeah, that's a good thing to say. Yeah.
Because I've obviously 3 years ago was a very tumultuous time in my life.
Yeah.
Divorce, I'm starting the factory, I'm losing a business partner, the list goes on. And like those quiet moments when you can self-reflect and you can find some light, you know, in that are some of the best moments ever. I mean, you said it was one of the best moments of your life, being alone for 40 minutes in the woods. You know, when you don't have those distractions and you don't have all those creature comforts and all that other stuff, and you just have you, and you talk about letting, you know, maybe a higher power talk to you or whatever.
Sure.
It can be nature, it can be God, it can be a whole bunch of different things. We're not saying it has to be, you know, bearded man in the sky. We're just saying, you know, something speak to you. Like those moments are crazy cool, you know, and no one will ever experience them like how you'll experience them. That's special.
Right.
Because they all mean different things. Like I was really thankful at those times, living in a trailer again, you know, inside of a factory, and you know, being alone.
You weren't living in a trailer, bro. You were living in a camper.
I was living in a pool behind.
Yeah.
That was permanently parked inside of a factory.
He did have grass, though.
I did have AstroTurf.
Yep.
Those things are extremely profound, and you just can't get them by going to church. You just can't get them hiking in the woods.
It's the distractions of
You
church.
can't get that with other people around. We generally love to be around each other, and we love to be around other people around here and stuff. It's a really good culture here, and we've talked about it on 1,000 podcasts so far. But when you're alone and you can be alone with your thoughts and be comfortable, which I don't think anyone's truly comfortable with like their own thoughts, but
I love it now.
if you can, well, you love it now,
But I'm still on that high.
you're still on the high, you know, when bad stuff is happening and then you're alone with your thoughts, it's nuts.
Yeah, if your mindset's not right, those bad thoughts can.
Yeah, I mean, I cover most of my stuff up with work.
Yeah.
I don't have a drug problem. I don't have an alcohol problem. I don't have anything. I have when I want to not worry about old boy just driving through the garage door, totaled a box truck the other day. I just work. I did the whole upstairs, redecked it, hung up all the clothes, reorganized it. I just worked through it, and then by the end, again, I'm too tired to have those. I care about any of that stuff because I'm so tired, and that's how I get through it. I know myself, you know. I'm thankful that you had this experience to where you can kind of experience a little bit of that because you covered up again a lot with activities and a lot of people. Use people a lot to escape from certain things. Even motorcycle riding, you know, even that kind of stuff.
Favorite escape.
You know, like even that's a distraction.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
You're doing something.
Yep.
You know, good or bad, it doesn't matter. I mean, like it's just a distraction. If you're drinking fucking, 10-pack a Bud Light, it's a distraction. You know.
Right.
I'm happy that you had that. So
Oh, so thankful.
they had you do a diary before this thing. Did you take that pretty seriously leading up to the fact, or was it hit and miss?
It was hit and miss. Yeah, it was. I mean, I was all in for 4 days, and then
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need to do that today. I'm too busy today. I got to go do this today, whatever. Then I pick it back up, put it back down, pick it back up, put it back down.
Did that come into usefulness when you were there, or was that pretty much just get you ready to put your thoughts on paper?
I think that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times people do that to get you accustomed to, like, if you've never done any of that stuff before,
Yep.
you have 3 days to get this experience.
Right.
Not a week, not a month. You have 3 days.
Right.
So a lot of times they'll prime the ignition by getting you to do some of that stuff, and they didn't use any of that. But
And I always thought I was like a note taker, anyways, type person, or a journaler. Is journaler a word?
yeah, I think
It
so.
is? Okay.
Yeah, it sounds right.
I get in those moments, where I'll do it, But I think I was just doing it blind before. Like I didn't have a purpose. I was like, oh well. Rooney went and fetched the ball today. Woohoo! Rooney the dog. Whatever. But if you do it with a purpose, it's a little bit different. I'm still. I mean, what? I've been back since Saturday, so 3 days. It's only 3 days, but I'm still journaling every day. And I've got a meditation app that I'm using. And I like it. I think it's good for me. I think it's healthy for me. Might not be good for everybody.
No, we're not talking about indoctrinating our viewership with this and everything we talk about. We're different people.
Right.
If you're type A and you have some demons and or you want to know yourself better, maybe these things are good. But if you generally like who you are and like everything that you're doing, which is hopefully not everybody. I mean, like if you get real with yourself, like there's some things you don't like about you, then maybe some of this stuff is good, and if you have the ability to go cross country and take a week of your life and commit to something like this, that might be a good boost start for you. Boost start? Yeah. A good boost for you to start, changing some stuff. And you're going to have to, I think that now, knowing what you found out before this experience, is that you have to continue these things.
I'll say, listen, bro. I mean, if you're not practicing it every day, what are you doing for yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say I took this experience and just put it in the back, just like I've done other experiences, right? Is it really making you any better? So really, you are the only person in control of making yourself better. If you want it, you'll do it. If you don't, you'll just keep doing what you've been doing, right? Because I'm pretty successful, right? Like, I'm pretty blessed. And I could be like, bro, I'm good. Like, I'm going on coast mode. I ain't got nothing to worry about, right? And it's not necessarily that I want to be better I mean, of course, I want more money, but that's not all I'm worried about anymore in life. And I think I said this to you a couple months ago. I think is like mortality is a realization to me now. You know, like I'm getting up there, bro. Right?
Once you crease 40, it seems a lot closer.
Yeah, I'm almost 50, right? And it's like, you start thinking, you're like, did I accomplish everything? Not just financially. You know, did I accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish? Have I left a good roadmap? You know? And I can honestly look at you and say, no, I haven't. I haven't. But it's not too late. You know, I can change that.
Money's always been a big motivator for you, and it's also been a big
demon.
Demon per se. I mean, in a certain way, managing money, I guess maybe a demon. Not that you're bad with your finances or anything. You pay all your bills and do all that kind of stuff. But like, did any of that come up with this trip?
No, finance didn't even
So face value stuff went away. We did all inner deep dive stuff.
Yeah.
Friends, family, God, like
faith, family, fitness.
Faith, family, fitness.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the other would be religion.
Yeah.
I know I'm still screwing it up. I apologize. Right. So there's
4
faith,
pillars.
fitness, finance, family.
Family.
Right. The finance part, I don't really care about that. I don't. You know, I've got the ability to turn cash.
Me and you are always like, oh, I want more money. I'll just go get more money.
I'll work a little harder this week. You know, like it's.
We find a way.
And it's disgusting that we think that way, actually, because we got that raw talent that we can do it.
It's not disgusting. It's just what we value. You know that I don't value money.
No, you don't.
I don't value money near enough that I need to value money.
No.
But then again, I don't value other stuff that I should also value more.
I think the two biggest things that I personally took out of this the most, now I guess the three, the finance was the only one that I really didn't care about, you know, and it's not that I don't care about it. I'm super cocky in that thing. Like the guy that was super fitness out there, you know, he might be struggling financially.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I didn't ask him, are you broke? You know, like those questions I never asked anybody, but
also if they had all 4 covered, they're not going to they're not going to Rise Up Kings.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
Yep.
Like,
and my focus when I went out there wasn't even family. Because I've always been that guy like,
that's a good question. Were you mostly business then going out there?
I would say I knew there was a high fitness focus on that out there.
Which is what you were trying to accomplish.
Yep. And also,
God?
my faith.
Faith.
You know,
we want
because
to say faith from now on, so using God?
Yeah, let's say faith.
Okay.
Because, not everybody believes in God, you know?
I mean, I do broad strokes, but like, you know, you don't have to believe in a bearded Jesus up there or anything like that. Like, he can be baby Jesus.
When I was asked personally out there about it, I was blunt. I said I lead towards more agnostic than anything. You know, I know there's
even
something.
Being just recently baptized and all that stuff was real raw.
Yeah, I know there's something out there. I want to believe.
At some point, you got to be honest with yourself that something's out there. All this can't be for nothing and for no reason.
Right.
And we just have all this stuff.
And it doesn't just happen.
It just doesn't happen.
It does.
There was no like, oh, what? There's a spark. We'll create the spark.
Yeah.
come on,
Right.
something
had to do it.
at some point. Even if you're scientific, at some point something had to happen.
Something had to create that science to make it happen. Like whatever. But I, you know how I was raised. I'm not going to get into that shit. And I've been down every avenue when it comes to religion, and I'm just like, pfft. And then I even got to the point where I'm like, what if I'm wrong? You know what I mean? Like, because I start
on this trip.
Before this trip.
Okay.
I started looking at religion like, because there's so many out there, right? I mean, when you think about like Baptists, there's different Baptists out there. There's Catholic, there's all kinds of stuff out there, right? So you're like, well, which one's the right one? They can't all be right. Someone's got to be wrong. So it's like, what's the point? Like I'm just gonna roll the dice and live the way I want to live. Like forget it. God loves me so much, He'll forgive me, right? That was kind of like my mentality for a while. If there's a God out there and He's loving and caring, then He'll get over whatever I've done, right? So I just kind of gave up on the whole religious thing, But for me personally, I need it, I think.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure I do, dude.
What part of you thinks you need it?
Because that's when I feel the most grounded. When I'm active in that, and I'm paying attention, and I'm trying to study, trying to learn things like that, I find myself a little calmer, a little bit more at peace. And even if it's only a couple of degrees difference, who cares? Like it's for the better. It's not for the worse,
Working out 1 day a week is still better than working out 0 days a week.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. So I think it's just the little things that religion brings that helps me be more grounded.
Fair.
And I could still be wrong, But
no, there's no rule book to any of this.
There really isn't,
So day one, physical craziness.
Yep.
Followed up during the evening times, I'm assuming that was a little bit of a breakthrough where you opened up a little bit.
A little bit, yep.
Day two, physical. Harder than the first day?
Oh. Made the first day look easy.
Can we talk about the ice bath stuff? Because I'm really...
That was day one.
Day one. Can we talk about the ice bath stuff?
What do you want to know?
Well, I mean, I recently just purchased a cold plunge.
Yep.
Cold plunge, if you want to sponsor this podcast, the plunge. I just bought a commercial plunge tub for the factory.
Or you could save $7,900 and get a Arctic.
That's exactly how much they are, actually.
Yeah.
I don't feel really good about spending that money, but also I know that if we had to keep up with it and do all that kind of stuff, then like if we had to be like, oh, it's going to be dirty today, well, the commercial thing kind of cleans itself and all that stuff. I don't have to worry about it. So I don't know why I justified myself to no one, but anyway, we have one coming. It's going to be here within a week or something. And I really like the challenge of doing something like that. The whole idea of doing something very hard at some point in your day, and you've struggled with anxiety, even in that you have all your shit together almost all the time,
On the surface.
Well, yeah, I mean that still counts. I mean,
Yeah.
like just having your shit together. I mean, but the anxiety part is still real. I don't experience anxiety like anyone else. I don't have. Only a couple times have I ever experienced like actual anxiety.
Really?
I just that emotional side of me is not so like that's a very emotional response. When like, what happens if I'm like whatever, baby being born wrong and having disabilities and things like that. Sure, a little bit of anxiety there, but not enough to like break me or whatever my normal cycle. That cold plunge thing, for a lot of people that have anxiety, they do 3 minutes a day in that fight or flight response of where your body thinks it's dying.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn how to breathe through that, acclimate, and push past it, or just live in that suck for a while, is really... I'm really interested in that. So that's why I was going to ask you. I won't ask you what they asked you during those times, but you said 14 minutes.
It was 14. That's what I was told, that I was about 14 minutes in there.
Is that average? What everyone else does?
Yeah, I mean, everybody. You know what's crazy?
That's nuts. Because like I've watched bodybuilders online try to get in these things and just being like, nope.
It's don't get it twisted. People were fighting it. I mean, I fought it. Like it's not easy.
That's what I like about it. There's no weight to it. We could all lift weights
and make it easier eventually.
We all, if you're trying to do 12 and you get 6 in, you're like, whew, put it down. There's no way to not make that suck any less.
Right.
It's not a resistance thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like, I can get through them, but it's just going to hurt a lot. It sucks every second, and you have to push past that.
Yeah.
And not, because of physical, there's a limit, right? There's a limit what we can do physically. Me and you couldn't run all the way home right now.
No.
You know, you live 2 hours away.
I couldn't run to the front of the driveway probably.
But from what I'm hearing, you could probably spend 2 hours in a cold plunge and suck the entire time, you know, but you could like mentally get past that, but it still sucked just as worse, or if not worser, then
We're
being
making
in
all kinds of new words
We're
tonight.
making all kinds of new words here in the podcast. Laugh your way to the top. And you're in it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing but mental stuff to keep you in there or not.
What's weird is I found it relaxing.
Probably 'cause it was hot as fuck.
That could be, but no, it was really.
We're dying for
it. Was weird for me. Like when I got out, I was
the first one in the ice bath.
Huh?
It's 110. I'm the first one in the ice bath.
No, I think there was only one guy after me, and that was it. Everyone else had went, because I was sitting there thinking, I'm not. Because honestly, it wasn't even the tub. Okay, I was like, I'm not doing what they're doing. Like, there's no way you are going to have me do this. Like, forget it.
Is there anything in the whole process that you just didn't do anything?
Nope, I did it all. Yeah. There was some modifications I did. I don't think I did.
Sure, but you didn't just say no.
No, I'm not built like that. Yeah. I'm
so the cold thing.
My ankle, bro. You should have saw my ankle day too, though. You know how it swells up and everything?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, it was
weird ankle swells up like crazy.
Ridiculous. You know, my knee.
So, cold stuff. Second to last dude.
Yeah.
You have anxiety at this point.
I don't know if anxiety is the right word. I think it was more like I had fear of them breaking me.
Okay.
Like,
That's
I'm like,
interesting.
I was like, I'm not gonna let them have me open up.
Interesting.
Not like that.
You weren't even fighting the physical aspects.
No, because I know I can do just about anything.
Interesting.
You know, like, I mean,
you were holding back the mind version of that. You were holding back. You were putting walls up and like, no, I know that if I get in here, that maybe I could break for a second because I'm gonna be focused on all this other stuff and they'll get me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 100%. And
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
And they low key got me. That's what really makes me mad. I'm like, because I went in there thinking, I'm gonna set it out. You know, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna get out.
And they ask you questions when you're in there and stuff like that. And
there's communication.
So there's communication.
Yep.
We won't go into what other thing, but like obviously they're trying to take down barriers in this whole process to build you back up. But you thought you were going to try to get in there.
Why in a freaking ice bath?
Yeah, you were going to be like, I'm cool, bro. And just sit there 14 minutes and being like, so how's your relationship with Job? Like, great. And family, that's awesome. You want to tell us anything? Nope. Like, just sit there.
That's almost how it went in the beginning. Like, I was like, I'm good.
Like, how many minutes in?
Like, I would be lying to you. I know some comments that I made, and I don't really want to get into
14 minutes has to seem like an hour in the ice bath.
You know what? I would have sat there all day. Ain't that weird?
That's so weird.
Like, it didn't bother me. Like, I was cold, but talking.
We're talking about ice bath. They literally had ice in, was it a tub?
Yeah.
Okay, they had literally ice in the tub with them. It wasn't like
it was like a
70
trough,
degree
I
tub.
guess you would
Yeah,
call
it was like what the cows and stuff drink out of and stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty common. this is cold water. This isn't 7 degree. Like I'm not getting in the pool because it's too cold. This is like 50, sub 50s tub, depending on how long it was out there and how hot it was out there. You could get it sub 50. This is cold.
There was fresh ice being dumped constantly. But for me, I would rather sit there in the misery of the cold than have to tell them anything.
Ah.
I was like, I could probably sit this out. Like, they're gonna at one point be like, all right, bro, get the hell out of the tub.
Right.
You know, and I pass, say, see ya.
See ya.
You know, but
I'm going back on the bus.
there was a question asked, and I was like, what'd you just say? You know, and it caught me off guard, and I was like, I got to answer this, you know? And
are they all the same questions to everybody? Do you know?
I don't remember. I don't think.
Did you watch anybody else do it?
Yeah. But you know how I kind of like put myself somewhere else.
Okay.
It wasn't that I was bored. It wasn't that I didn't care about those people. I mean, I could tell you some brief stories that they all. I'm not going to, but I could. Because I paid attention enough there, but I was like in my mind so much.
Somebody's breaking down about their family life, like, that's not going to be me.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it was, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
nope.
You are not going to find, like, I'm not going to let you use this against me later on. Like, and that's how I operate in life usually.
True.
Like, I am not going to give you anything that you can use against me. Like, why would I do that? You know, like, I even have a hard time training new sales reps sometimes because I'm like, I don't want them to be able to go do this somewhere else. Like, why am I teaching them to do this? You know?
So you're sitting there watching people go through. You watched, a bunch of people go through it.
Yeah.
10 plus people at least. They're doing it even in sections.
I think there was 18 that went before me.
Then you get in.
17 or 18.
You're being hard.
Yeah.
They're being like, Ryan Trouten, tell me a little about yourself. You're like, I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they ask you a question, break down a little bit. You're like, did you suck back up after that?
Nope.
Nope. Then they open it up.
They hit me.
They open it up. They do that.
I went down for the count.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then at a certain point, they feel like they got enough out of that experience to get you out.
I found myself realizing that it was happening, and I tried to stack them bricks back up real fast, but it was too late.
When you get out, what did you feel?
Cold. I was cold.
Even in 95, 98.
Yeah, I was like, all of a sudden it hit me when I got out. I was like, oof, you know.
Did you try to be as still as possible? The cool plunge?
Yeah, it was.
It creates a thermal barrier around you. If you don't move at all, it's way easier to do it.
Really?
The cold plunge that I got circulates the water so you never get a thermal barrier.
Really?
That's why it goes numb so quick when you're in there. Because, like, the first minute obviously sucks, you know?
Well,
and then,
none of it was pleasant.
None of it's pleasant, but you can get through it once you start breathing and that kind of stuff. You create the thermal barrier, and there's a warm water all around you.
Really?
And it stays around you.
Can't do that. I learned something new.
Can't do that in the cold plunge. It's like a jet tub. It moves it around. Way more comfortable.
I'm still gonna beat you.
I don't feel good about my chances now.
I think we should do a podcast on it.
I don't. In it, like we just go. It's big, bro. We could do it. We could do one. Oh my god, it sounds terrible. I don't. We can't do it. We can't move the table and stuff. I don't care. We're not doing it.
Couldn't we just have someone
iPhone? No, we can't do it. It's impossible. Thanks, Ryan.
Wait.
Anyway, thanks for coming on the podcast. But I don't want to. I don't want to be in the tub for someone 15 minutes. You know, I think that's crazy. I've done it before in 35-degree weather and negative degree water. It's in Utah. It's cold in the wintertime.
We should do it.
And we did it for 5 minutes, and that was my body was shutting down.
We should do it back and forth. Like, go to the sauna, go to the cold plunge.
I did get a sauna too. Is what
go to the cold plunge. Go back and forth and see how long we can do it.
See if we can have a heart attack
and have a conversation through the whole entire process. I wish we'd have a cool breakthrough then, or death.
That's another thing I want to have a conversation with. Do you think that because you are you don't think of yourself as a giver and stuff, but you love to bring value to other people, and it's reserved because you don't also want to show that you care about anybody, but you do really like to bring smiles to people's faces, obviously. Do you think that you will take the teachings of this and work it into not only your family life, obviously religion, but like, will you think that do you think that your sales management position is, you'll be able to take certain things from here and gently bring people to be better?
I already feel it happening.
Yeah.
Day one back, I already feel it happening. I find myself thinking, what if I was sitting across it? I got 2 new salespeople I'm training right now, right? Fresh today.
Starting today.
And that was the first thing I said to myself. What if I was them sitting right there?
And you hate empathy.
Huh?
You hate empathy.
it. It's for weak.
It opens you up because you have to be like openly like, oh man, I don't want to yell at them because then I'll, it's like, no, right. They deserve it.
I don't even like sympathy, really.
Yeah.
But I feel it already working in me in that aspect. Heck, I sent a text message to one of the sales reps, and first thing I wanted to fly off the handle, right? But I didn't fly off the handle. I sat there and I thought about it for a second, and I asked the questions, and I'm thankful I didn't fly off the handle like I normally would have, because the answers were right. He did the right things, right? And normally I would have just assumed he didn't do the right things, that he did what he wanted, and he was being a type A guy, thinking he could handle it all himself, and he screwed us up on a deal and everything else, right? Those were all the things that I wanted to think, but I was like, I'm going to give him a chance to explain himself real fast and see if it makes sense. And if I would have flown off the handle like I normally done, I would have yelled at him for nothing, because everything he did was exactly right. And I was like, huh. So I took away from that immediately.
That's cool. And that's the stuff that I get off on, is like, if I can, I don't really care about self-betterment for me. I know that you had a lot of it. It's going to help you personally. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. Me, I've just always been not about me. But if the people around me can benefit from me going something through that, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And that really does speak to me. When you say all this stuff, I look at it as a different light. I have a weak relationship with religion, but it's fine. I respect everybody, and everybody, I do the best I can every day, morality-wise, every single day. The family stuff, I do more for my family. Even my family's well off or have a lot of love, or my friends, come on. I kill myself for my friends. My business, kill myself for my business and stuff, which I consider finance for me. But, but if I can level up, if I can be better for my people, and then they're in turn getting better, if me and you can have a better relationship by me going through this, then I'm all for that. It's a different light. Same concept. I'll get better, but I don't want to do it I don't want to do it. I really don't want to. I don't care about doing it for me. I like who I am, and I'm very appreciative for everything, and I'm very...
You got to have something you want to work on, bro.
Oh, I want to work on it all. I want to level up everything. I want to level up everything.
And I'm not trying to sell this Rise Up Kings by no means.
You are trying to sell it, aren't you?
Am I? I don't.
Do you believe in it? Do you want people to go to it?
Yeah, bro.
Then you are selling it. It's fine.
I like I said earlier in this,
you have no affiliation with Rise Up Kings or anything like that. You don't get a referral bonus if you mention Ryan Trouten. No. Ryan Trouten 20% discount.
Yeah. No. I don't think that there's one person that couldn't benefit from it.
I agree with you. Knowing what you've saying and what you've done.
I mean, and
you're such a. I mean, if there's anybody that wouldn't work.
That what?
That wouldn't work in this program.
Yeah.
It'd be you.
Yeah. 100%.
let's be honest. I'm open to new stuff. I went skinny dipping in Georgia. I'm very afraid of the dark. Not very afraid, but I'm moderately afraid of the dark.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Learn something new about you.
I don't like it. When I go to sleep, the moment I shut off my phone, I go to sleep. I don't like to be in the darkness. I don't like that.
I love it.
2, nature. I have such a healthy respect for nature that I know there's snakes. I know there's bears. I know there's stuff in Georgia is what I'm talking about. But like I know there's that stuff. And so
Wild boar.
What?
Wild boar,
anything like that. I know that snapping turtles, anything like that. I'm like, if I jump in naked, what if I jump right on a snake and he bites me and then now baby Roscoe doesn't have a father? I'm like, God, all that stuff. And then also just being naked out in the open with also the nearest hospital is like an hour away, maybe 2 hours. It's crazy far away. Like, what if I land on the one boulder that's underneath here and I just break my spine? Whatever. Like, I don't like it, but I did it just, I like doing new stuff and, exposing myself to that. I like leveling up and like being more comfortable in that kind of stuff. I push myself constantly to do it. I got a sauna and a cold plunge and personal trainer and all that stuff. I really want to do that. And you can't tell the benefits of it right now, but like even that moderate stuff helps me a lot. And so if that would be helpful to me, I would represent that brand too.
Yeah.
I'd have to go buy another $1,000 worth of clothes to go there because I don't have anything.
How long you buy?
Oh, yeah, probably more most of your stuff. If I lose another 20, 30 pounds, I could fit into all your stuff.
You could now.
No.
Yeah.
I'm a 3XLT all day, baby. You're 2XLT.
Same.
Skinny boy.
Man, I will tell you one thing.
Okay.
When you go out there, right, you have to give them your shirt size. Right? Be sure to go higher.
They're getting that stuff made in China.
Bro. Oof. You know how I am about that stuff. Everything's got to be loose, I want to stay covered up. I don't want my belly hanging out, none of that stuff, right? So I ordered a size bigger, and it was still skin tight. And I'm like, what in the heck is going on here? Like, and immediately I was
I imagine it's a Rise Up Kings
t-shirt.
insignia t-shirt, yeah.
Which you see on the YouTube, so I can go ahead and put that out there. Yeah, you get the t-shirts you wear because that's part of
Graduation.
your uniform. No, that's part of your uniform through the week.
So you had to wear all that, you had to bring all that shit and they give you stuff?
Well, you remember I only brought one black t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yep.
Boy, you had to work out in a tight-ass shirt the whole time?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm self-conscious all the time, right? And I'm like, the first thing that they make you do is put this t-shirt on. I'm like, I took it back off and looked at the tag, and I'm like, what? Like, why is this so tight? And that alone made me want to quit. Truthfully, I was like, ugh, I'm just going to wear my black t-shirt that I brought. You can't make me wear this t-shirt. That was like my mentality. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
And you did it.
I did it. I kept pulling on it the whole time I was out there, dude. Tried to make it longer somehow.
It don't get no longer.
It didn't get any longer.
We talked about the first day. We talked about the second day.
Yeah.
Breakthrough, all that stuff. You go to sleep good that night on the second day?
Slept like a baby the whole entire time I was out there.
Oh, the whole time?
The whole time. Well,
so I was saying like
not the first night.
Yeah, the first
very
night.
First night.
Like,
No.
nah.
I didn't sleep at all.
When you're emotionally and physically spent, the greatest night of sleep of all time.
Bro, after day two of going through that, I don't even think I remember laying down. Like, I had to take a shower before I went to bed, and that normally would revive me. Take a shower like, oh, I'm good for another 4 hours now. And I took a shower, and I laid down on the bed, and I was like, I didn't even look at my phone that night. Because I was like, I went right to bed, and slept great. Yeah.
That brings us to the third day.
Yeah.
Third day starts out how?
Rough.
Early?
Yeah. And
Early.
Actually, an hour and a half
lining
earlier
up at the hotel again.
Yeah, every day starts
lining up. Yep. I imagine it was like that.
Yep.
Still people fucking up and wearing.
That was the day that I was like, oh my God, dude, like, I want to hit you right now. Like, seriously, you did this? Like, how did you do that? Like, that's why I actually went up to him, I believe, sometime during the day, and I said, bro, did they pay you or did they tell you to do that? Like,
And
he said, no. I was like, why did you do it? And he's like, I didn't even think about it. And I'm like,
because you think by day 3 they're broke.
oh, come on, man.
Come on.
After the first day, I was like, meh.
I'm not going to be the one.
Pretty simple.
yeah.
Dress right dress,
Yeah,
you know?
You did it right the first day.
Yeah. Yeah, actually I did. No, I didn't. I did put one thing. I had to think, I left my necklace on. Didn't even think about it. I didn't even remember it was on me, to be honest with you.
By the second day, you're like, come correct. By third day, you're like, duh. And then everyone else.
It was a no-brainer by day 3, you would think.
So day 3 starts out. People are still messing up.
One person.
Yeah. You're like, idiot. Yeah. Get on the buses. Yep. You go to the same woods you've been going to.
Oh no, every day is a different spot.
Really?
Yeah, even throughout the day, you're taken to different spots.
Are these public spots? Or are they like?
Yeah, 90% of them are public spots. Yeah, there was only one spot that wasn't. Yeah.
Starts out same, like a run, like a. Do you remember?
Yeah. That was actually the hardest day for me.
Mm.
Because it was so strenuous. I had literally, I thought I put my knee out. Like, that's how bad it was that day. But I still, for some reason, didn't quit, bro. Like, I was a lot slower.
Right.
And that was, if I sent you a picture, I said, don't share this with nobody. That was that day.
Yeah. Crawling through the mud.
No, that wasn't mud that day.
Sand?
Sand and water.
Sand.
Yeah. Sand and water. And that activity, and I'm not even going to tell you the duration.
Right.
But was the toughest thing. And then here's what's crazy, is I didn't realize until later on that day that it mentally broke me too. Because something happened.
In the moment, you didn't realize.
Nope, didn't realize it until later on that day when we were everyone was talking, and there was a speaker, and I was like, "Wait a second, I had an emotion happen to me during that whole, and it just came out of the blue. Like, I had an emotion happen to me during that exercise that, like, messed me up in the head, dude. Like, it messed me up in the head. That's the only way to put it. And I didn't realize what kind of damage it did to me until later on in the day, and it hit me because someone had said something that was they were speaking, and I was like a light bulb went off. It was an aha moment, and I was like, oh my God. I felt this feeling when I witnessed what happened. I want to tell you, but that one I definitely can't.
Sure.
That I didn't realize how bad I hurt people.
Interesting.
And how bad I was hurt at a younger age to make me act that way. And it all came to me during this exercise, and I didn't even realize that it came to me until hours later. This was like 6:00 at night that it dawned on me that had happened to me that day. It was crazy.
Yeah, that is nuts.
But I mean, it's real though. Like,
your ripple effect is huge. I mean, what you put into the world is a lot of times what you get out of it. You know, good and bad.
Yep. And honestly,
if you're not like David Goggins and who's going to carry the boat sort of deal, you know, like, it's tough. Like, if you're putting a lot of negativity, if you're breeding that, there's a good chance that they're taking that home and they're taking it to their families or their friends or their work or their whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the ripples are huge.
Just that little thing that happened made me realize one of my biggest mistakes as a father.
And you weren't even in a leadership role at this point in the exercise.
I was just doing this exercise that was given to us, and I witnessed something happen during that exercise. It didn't compute right then, maybe because I was so tired. I don't know, but it didn't compute right then. And then later on that day, listening to a speaker, it popped in my head for some reason. Maybe he said something. I don't know. I'd be lying to you right now, but it popped in my head, and I was like, oh my God, what happened I did to my kids? And I'm like, that's really
sort of continuing the cycle sort of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is huge. Like, it's a lot of people do that. They don't want to be their especially if you had a rough upbringing. They don't want to put that on their kids, and so I'm not going to be like that.
Right. Yeah.
But oftentimes, it's hard to break that cycle. You think that you're going to be like that, and I've made excuses like, been like, well, I mean, I know I'm not home now, but like when he's 5, well, I'll be able to go to Bali with him or whatever. I'll be able to go take him to Disney World once a month if I want to or whatever. But I'm making the concessions now, and so that way I can. Well, same thing that my dad did. I'll build a business and then I'll be able to spend, which it's great. It's like he's been able to afford me a great life. But we don't want to make those same mistakes, rolling effects, throughout the things, but it's really hard not to.
It's hard not to.
It's really hard not to because we're programmed.
We are so programmed.
We are so programmed.
Like, I even see things like that I do. I'm like, oh my God, my dad did that.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, even like your grandparents. Oh my God, my grandpa did that. Or my
Which you speak highly of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But there's still aspects that, you're like, I shouldn't be doing like that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be like grandpa with that, or shouldn't be, but it's, man, my mind's kind of blank right now, to be honest with you, because it just, like, everything just.
You're still tapped. You're still tapped.
Yes, 100%. Yep. And for some reason, I feel like it's almost like triggered that emotion again right now, and it was like, oof, and it took me right back to what we were doing in that moment. I physically just now got tired.
Yeah.
Like, mentally, physically, and everything. That's weird, dude.
No,
like,
it definitely happens. So going forward now, you feel, I like how you put the Rise Up Kings. I just got that bottle. It's facing directly towards the camera. They'll love
What
that.
is?
The Rise Up King bottle. Sponsor up Rise Up Kings. We're begging for it. The amount of, let's call it juice that you got from this.
Yeah.
What do you need to keep that up? Because I've done that.
Sure.
The rah-rah, the physical or emotional things, not to the degree at all of what you're talking about. I don't want to make, like, I've had, like, this experience before. I have not. But I do know some of these things wear off in times.
They all do.
They all do. What do you think will need to happen for you to extend this? Because you can't do the same things forever. You're not going to go on a 3-mile run and then go to the ice bath every day and then break down emotionally to a coach. And then, you're not going to do that. So, like, what do you think that to get the most out of it? Like, let's say we keep that for 6 months, which I think is a realistic goal. What do you think that you need to do?
It's all an accountability thing, really.
Which is the brotherhood stuff.
Yep. 100%.
Hop it on. I mean, you were on a Zoom call this morning.
Yep. I think it was like a 2.5-hour call.
Of the people that were in the class, or past people, or both?
No, people of the class.
People in the class.
Yep. And really, it's because you go through these things, right? And like, even when we went out, I went out to me and a couple sales reps. You had me take them out there to. Where did we go? South Carolina.
Yeah, I think South Carolina. Greenville, I think.
I couldn't remember if it was North Carolina or South Carolina.
Greenville, right?
Man, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was somewhere out there.
Yeah. But anyways, I mean, you remember, we came back, we were super hyped.
Jacked.
Super hyped. And we put a lot of things into motion that were extremely successful. Extremely. And then the flame wore out, right?
Yeah.
We went back to what we're comfortable with, right? And it's funny because part of that Zoom meeting this morning talked about that. Like we have thermometers, right? You know, um, and we might operate at 98 degrees real good all the time, right? It even goes back to what I was saying earlier. Um, I don't have to do any changes. Really don't. I would live a happy life, be fine, be able to take care of my family, do whatever I want to pretty much within reason, and wouldn't have anything to worry about, right? So I didn't really have a reason to do this, okay? But if you want to get better, right, you got to raise that thermometer a little bit, right? And which that's what this did, but it's super easy to turn it off and go back down to where we were.
Oh my God.
Super. That's the easiest thing in the
That's
world.
why they have to break you.
Yeah.
Because it's too easy to go laissez-faire about the whole operation and just go, whatever.
Yep.
My life is how it's going to be.
And you know what? Like a lot of people don't. Even a lot of the people out there didn't have to really bitch about their lives. As far as being financially secure. I mean, I don't know where they were, truthfully, but they could have painted a pretty good facade. Like they have a great life and everything else, but they just battle some demons just like everybody else. But we all were there for a reason, right? And what's the odds of you finding that place too? Like, ain't that weird?
Weird.
Super weird.
I mean, I literally have never heard of anything like that.
Because you even said just a few minutes ago, you're really not a religious guy.
No, I have a weak affiliation with
Right.
with that.
What made this Rise Up King stand out to you?
Well, I did what I normally do and I just researched the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally, how I get into stuff. I don't buy a vacuum cleaner without watching hours of video of people using them and the worst things about them and the best things about them and all that stuff.
And then to put it out even further, why did you pick that one and have me go to it?
Well, I think that fit your current position in life where you've been making huge strains physically. I mean, you've gone to lengths to improve your physical life, not only just for the health benefits, but like you feel better and you do them. So I had to find something that had a physical fitness part of it, right? The Sam Taggart stuff was great, but there was nothing like, you couldn't even do the ropes and stuff because they had like a 250-pound weight limit or something that, right?
That's right. That last
so
day,
I can't have the...
Oh, that made me so mad that day.
So mad.
That was the adventure park thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the fitness thing was huge. And then you're in a leadership role, whether at times you feel like you are...
And the passenger seat,
you're running it.
Right.
Everyone can put even if you work at, a Subway or something like that, if you're the dude that the people rely on to make things work, like you're the dude.
Right.
Own that and level up everybody to their fullest amount and then move on if that's what you got to do. But like, you do everything that you can all the time for everyone that relies on you. And there's been oftentimes, you've talked and been like, well, man, I just do my job and go, well, your job is pretty all encompassing. So you can frame it like that if you want, but the wheels don't turn unless Ryan Trouten's at the helm. It just doesn't turn like that. It won't ever turn like that. And so it's easy to write those things off. So I need to find a leadership, part of it. Because all those people were pretty much leaders of their own right, whether they were leaders of their family or leaders of the gas station they owned or leaders of, a multi-million-dollar corporation or roofing, humble roofing thing. Was there another roofing?
I ran into 3 people out there that actually knew. I don't know why I'm telling you this right now. I could have told you off base, but when we first started Perfect Steel Solutions, we bought from Metal Exteriors, right?
Yeah.
And right now I'm still talking because I'm trying to remember the cat's name.
But they bought from Metal Exteriors too?
No, who ran Metal Exteriors?
Carl.
Yeah. There was 3 guys out there that knew Carl Zimmerman.
He's big now.
He's like big.
He's big now.
Yeah. But
he started out this size factory, and now it's like 10 times bigger.
They were telling me all about Shiloh, Ohio and everything. I'm like,
yeah.
bro, how do you know about Shiloh, Ohio? Like, really?
Yeah. Weird because you found that place.
Yeah. Well, I found it through somebody I knew.
You found it, though.
Yep.
That's so weird. It's such a small... And you were in Texas.
We were in Texas. Yeah, that's
Crazy.
What's weird. Yeah.
So you weren't in Midwest or something like that?
No. Anyway, sorry.
He's big.
Squirrel.
No, that's where we eventually. That's where we got our medal originally, and they're great dudes. But I had to get the physical part. I had to get the leadership part, and I've known that you with the faith stuff, not struggled with it per se, because you never come to me and go, "Oh man, I'm struggling with my faith hard today." You know.
I'm just hot or cold with it.
It's just hot or cold. I mean, you're all in or you're all out.
Yeah.
So when you're all in, you're going to those faith-based study things, and you're meeting the pastor on off hours, and you're getting baptized, and you're doing all that stuff, Rashad, and things like that. Shout out Rashad.
My homie.
You're doing all those things. And then if you're not doing any of those things. You're not going to church. You're not meeting with pastors. Not bettering that stuff, at all. So that seemed to me like it would best fit. There was a lot of... Not a lot, but there was 2 or 3 others that heavily relied on one of those things. I didn't want you to sit in a temple somewhere and contemplate your life.
I would have went nuts.
I didn't want that.
Yep.
I also didn't want you to go take high level, leadership skills from someone who had some moderate success in life. And then do that. I also didn't want you to go to a boot camp where they would just teach you how to not be fat. Like, cool. Well, I'll send you to fat camp. So this was kind of like the best of all things for you. The best of all things.
Wrapped into one.
Yeah. When you went to this and came back, one of the things was that you made some new, could we call them friendships? Do we call them relationships? Do we call them... What do we call them? Brothers for sure, because that's what the brotherhood's about.
What's crazy though is like, that's the one thing that I wasn't buying into right away. Because I'm like, man, I've got people I know my whole life that have been friends, good friends that I still don't call brother. Like that's pretty serious for me to say that. Like to call you brother, that means something to me. And a lot of people it just means, oh, brother, what's up, brother? Or what's up, bro, whatever. To me, there's more to it than that, And I can honestly say that I made some brothers out there in just 3 days.
It made us closer. I mean, think of all the struggles that we've had during our lifetime together.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't have been near as good as friends had we not struggled together like we struggled together. And when you go through that kind of stuff, there's common ground. I mean, you share that burden with somebody. I mean, that's same thing with marriage, like all that kind of stuff. I mean, you really dive deep in them. When you have those intricate, I'm not going to say fabricated things, they do make you struggle on purpose.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But it doesn't make the hurt any less. Just because it's coming doesn't make it any less suck. And so when you commiserate like that in such a positive manner, it really speaks, and you get to know people on a deeper level. Now, you did hear what helps too is like you've heard their dark things.
Right.
I mean, they're not always dark, but they're demons.
There's some dark ones.
They're demons or whatever. And so they know your demons. You know their demons.
Right.
That's a good place to start. Yeah. When you can have a relationship. Now, you've had a therapist before, and I don't think that you've, not opposed to that. Therapy's super wonderful.
Yeah.
I recommend it for everyone.
I recommend it, yeah.
Absolutely everyone. You don't have to be struggling with mental health or anything like that. If you just want someone, a third party to talk to, maybe you're having some problems or maybe you want some clarification on marriage stuff or financial. I mean, if you think that, if your financial guy can give you, that's therapy in itself too. I mean, all these different kinds of therapy.
Sometimes it's best to get unbiased.
Massage therapy. I mean, they're all yeah, dude, you all need that. Massage therapy, it's huge.
Right.
Physical connection with somebody else, all those things. Like there's no bias from me. I've had people in my life, in my family, in my personal circle that do therapy, and they're not messed up at all. You don't have to be messed up to go to therapy. That's a negative connotation to a thing that people have nowadays, that you have to be like super dark or super struggling
Emotionally
mentally,
destroyed.
you can't go to work because you're consumed by depression or anything.
Right.
You can just go there to better yourself, just like this thing. So, anybody out there, just a little disclaimer, like, just go. It's not that. Sometimes insurance pays for it, so just go.
And they don't have anything to hide. Let's say, like,
Yeah.
when you tell them how you're feeling, they can give you a raw answer back, and they don't have to worry about eating dinner with you that night. You know what I mean? Like, they can tell you how it is.
So true.
You know?
Like, we still got to work together.
Right.
We still got to work together every day.
Yeah. I remember.
Your wife you got to go sleep right next to her.
Right.
So you can have some real deep conversation. Like, listen, I'm really unhappy with this. Oh, well, that'll be fun in 30 minutes when you go try to lay silently in bed together. So, like, a third-party
Or
person.
not have to worry about a knife being over you when you wake up.
Yeah, I'm like, shh, go sleep. But that stuff, you've told people that you don't tell therapists when you were at this event.
Bro, yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
And I swore
They've done with you 3 days, so I couldn't get you to do in 6-7 years.
I swore I wasn't going to break. Like, I told myself, you're not breaking. Like,
That's so cool.
and I was being real with myself when it wasn't like I'm a bad motherfucker. You know, I'm not breaking. You're not breaking me. I am not falling for this shit. I'm here to get what nuggets I can out of it, and that's it. And I'll be on my way. But so I wasn't even open to that. Once I realized what they were doing with people, I was like, I'm not open to that concept. And you're not.
That's so strange that they can do that in front of you and you still succumb to.
Yeah. Well, it's not them. They're just the vessels, bro. If you want to get on, like, if I could go down the religious side of it, that's the Holy Spirit working, bro.
Yeah.
If you
Probably
don't believe in
more-
that, it's
yeah.
whatever it is that you believe in working you.
They're more present in those moments, I think.
Yeah.
Especially in the struggle.
And here's the thing. I mean,
Those people were kind of almost like electric rods for positivity and religion and those things too. So they were tapping you guys into that. It
Right.
wasn't that those guys are, those coaches struggle and do all that kind of stuff too, but
and they're not professional counselors. They're not. One of the coaches, he said, I'm a trained killer. That's what he was. He was in the military. He was a trained killer. He didn't give a shit about people. Like, he does, but his job was to get rid of the enemy. You know what I mean? Like, so, they're not paid to be there. Like, it's crazy to think that these people. Wow, I just now thought about this. Is like, these are not professionals in psychology or whatnot, and they were able to break me. When I've paid thousands of dollars to psychologists that I just kind of fluffed my way through because I felt like I needed it. I wasn't real with those experiences.
and maybe you thought those people were better than you and you weren't gonna like show them your weaknesses and stuff, which you struggle with.
Sure. On both aspects, the therapist and these guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, they broke you way faster than
Unreal. Because I'm usually way stronger than that. Well, it's not that I was weak, but I'm usually.
No, you're a strong dude.
Yeah, it was like, woof.
You're a strong dude.
Like, how did you do this?
Do you think that any part of you would like to go do that?
What?
Because I feel like you ordering people around, doing that kind of stuff would be in your wheelhouse. Not right now, obviously, until you grow in the faith and grow in the aspect and become a pillar of their community and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how that happens. You just don't be like, hey, you're really good at this. Come do a next one, But like, do you think that either on a small thing here or doing it there, like going out there once a year and experiencing that from the other side?
I think what would be cool about it, I don't think I'm. Maybe I don't think of myself highly enough, but I don't think I'm qualified enough to do that for someone. But it goes back to our very first podcast that you and I did together. I talked about how I like to train salespeople because I like to see the outcome, right? And I like to see how successful they've become and things like that. I think it would be awesome to live that experience on the other side and watch other people transform with that like I did. So yeah, I think that would be neat. I don't know if I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to
No.
do that yet, but would it be awesome to do one day? Yeah, sure. It would be awesome to do one day. Just to be able to give to somebody what they gave to me.
You got your money's worth out of that.
Oh, bro. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
How often do they recommend coming back and doing? They have like, so there's the Ruck, then
Yep.
they have the Awakening, then they have, or maybe it's Awakening
Well,
then
no.
Ruck. Then
Ruck is Rise Up Kings. That's just the name of it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Sorry.
Awakening is what I did.
Awakening, and then they have
They have other
another.
tiers to
Yeah,
it.
there's a tier. You have to go do this one to be able to go to the second one.
Yeah, and I don't want to talk on it too much because I really don't know the details off the top of my head.
But there's levels of this game. So you thinking every year maybe?
I mean, here's what's cool about it. And this goes along with, when you go to these other events and these other things, that fire dies out after time when you come back, right? Like we were talking about with us going to South Carolina, that fire burned out. It was we got our money back out of it because it was very successful for a couple months, right? But then we fizzled out on it. Our thermostat went back down to where we're complacent, right? This experience doesn't end, right? At Rise Up Kings. And what I mean by that is, heck, man, it's Tuesday. I got back Saturday. My days are all screwed up. And Tuesday we have a 2.5, I think it was a 2.5 hour Zoom call, right? I'd have to look at my phone to tell it's definitely longer than an hour and a half for sure. I think it was 2.5. Whatever, 2.5, something like that. And it's every week, right?
That's good.
And then there's things that I'm part of on here now that there's daily communication with the people that I went through this experience with. Now, hopefully that maintains, right?
It won't forever.
But it could.
It could. It's nice to believe that it could.
If you're holding each other accountable, just like our Prano, right? We're very active on Prano. We've had that now for how long? 2 or 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
And we use that as a form of communication. And we also use it to encourage people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a direct encouragement. It's like, so-and-so.
I see you.
Yeah, exactly. I just sold for 40 grand. I just sold for 30 grand. I just got a hat trick today, stuff like that. So it's quiet motivation, right? And accountability. I think that will, for me personally, will do the same thing.
Good.
Because I don't want it to be all for nothing.
I don't think, no one goes into it being like, cool, I'm glad I did that.
But this experience here was more of it's more personal.
Yeah.
So because it's more personal, I think I'm going to be more apt to stay on that.
What was the first, and you can share if you don't want to, you don't have to. What was the first conversation like with your family when you got back? We can do broad strokes if you'd like. What was the general, what they saw? What did you tell them?
So I have reasons why I was I have been really reserved with telling people a lot of details. And it came from a saying that someone told me while I was out there. And that saying is don't rush to failure. Okay? I think I've already said it to you once since I've been back, actually. You can bury somebody, right, with your enthusiasm. I could come back and I could have dumped it all out, right, and just word vomited everything. And that would do nothing for the person on the other side, okay? Especially if you want that person to come along with you on this journey, right? Because you ruined it for them by telling them everything, by dumping everything on them. The best way to share that experience with somebody is to live it And what I mean by that is kind of like a lead by example thing. Okay. Every step that I take from here forward, right? Someone's either going to gain from it or going to lose from it. So how many of them blocks are you going to make it so that way they're gaining from it? Okay. Like for instance, it even happened with us on 75 hard, right? Because you doubted that I could do it. Zach doubted that I could do it. I believe Jimmy doubted that I could do it. A lot of people doubted that I could do it, that it was a lot of just talk, right? And hell, I doubted that I could do it. Honestly, I'm like, Jesus, day 35, and I'm like, I'll do anything for a burger and fries right now. Just don't tell nobody. You know what I mean? And I could have easily done that. Really, I could have cheated the system and nobody would have known except for me, right? But the reason why I'm telling you that is when I did complete it and everyone did see that change, because there was a pretty drastic change, bro. Like 85-pound change, I believe it was.
Crazy.
How many other people decided to do it after that?
A lot.
I think all of you did.
Because it's proven.
Yeah.
It goes back to a story that the Les Brown shared about running the mile. For years and years, no one could break 8 minutes. And this is like early 50s or 40s or something like that. No one could break 7.5, 8 minutes until one person did it. Nowadays, we have high schoolers running sub 5-minute miles.
Yeah.
High schoolers, children, all because one person did it.
Yeah.
And it becomes attainable then.
And I think that's kind of the same stance I'm taking on this is once you see that change is stuck for a while, it's going to raise a lot of curiosity. And people are going to be like, what the hell did he really go through in North Texas? Like what did happen out there? Because this dude has changed, right? And it's going to make them want to do it.
It's definitely more profound when you can lead by example.
Yeah, 100%.
It's definitely more.
We even made it a competition here, 75.
Yeah,
hard.
and not even that successful. I mean, mildly successful, but not 100% completion.
Right.
Yeah. And with this kind of stuff, it would be great to even have 50%.
Yeah.
Like if you could do that and we could send 5 people there next year, it'd be huge.
Right.
We had 10 people I would like to send, but shit, 5 people, if they see, from a business standpoint, it's always great. Numbers are awesome if you do more numbers and stuff like that. But I've always been underneath the impression that the team, the health of the team is always more important than the one person. And so if you can bring that up and get that more healthy through all this stuff that you have, then that will always be more important.
My leadership changes when I feel better about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't always have to be physical health to feel better about yourself.
No.
Just making right choices, right decisions that are going to better you, betters the team.
For sure.
And that alone you can't put a price tag on, so it's worth it to try, to just keep going.
I've had that on podcast before. Like I talked to an interview today and I just got this energy from him and I was like, have you ever thought about starting your own business? He's like, yeah. I go, why haven't you done it yet? I don't want you for this. He probably watched this here coming for the time I told him I was going to get back to him. He'd probably watch it. But I was like, in my mind, I was like, I don't want you for this at all. But he had this spark. He's like, I want to open my own, like, West Coast customs, like start with a tent and then do I was like, why don't you do it? He's like, money's not right now. I go, trust me, bro.
It's never going to be right.
It's never going to be right. I beg, borrowed, and steal to get this thing up and running. You just fake it till you make it sort of deal. You just make it happen more than fake it. And then it just comes, if it's meant to be, it'll, we've done amazing things now. We sit here in this $1 million factory and this $1 million machines. Me and you started this with 25 G's.
25,000.
25 G's.
Scared to death.
Solvent in 13 weeks. 13 weeks on no money, but then 13 weeks being totally solvent on our own cash flow. And that would have never happened. Our money was not right. You broke. I lived in a $50,000 house. I broke. Between us, all we really had was a $1,000 Jeep and a $25,000 truck, apparently, that we could leverage, That's it. So the money's not going to be right. The timing's not going to be right. None of that stuff will just line up.
Right.
You're going to have to roll the dice.
Yep.
And just give it everything. Give her hell. You're going to have to do a lot of stuff for free. You're going to do a lot of stuff for free.
You're like, why am I doing this again? I left a cush.
Cush. And I accepted more responsibility than I've ever taken on in life. And I was just like, dude, you should do this. And he's like, nah, I can't. I'm like, oh, man, I wish that you could see my struggles. Maybe this podcast will reach somebody that's just thinking about, I mean, dude, if you want to open up a sandwich shop,
do it.
Dude, leverage everything you have, put it on there and give it 3 months. Guess what? If you're kind of broke, you'll be kind of broke afterwards too.
You think McDonald's has started out worldwide?
Yeah.
One location, bro.
Bro, you just have to give it hell. Some people come along and help, like you helped me. I wouldn't be able to do it without you, or and then we had Jimmy come along, and then we've had some studs, and the marketing and stuff, really took over. We got some studs in there, and we've gotten some good partners like with Metal Exteriors, and that really helped us out. We wouldn't have been able to pay taxes some years without giant refund checks from. I mean, it works out.
Mary,
our finance lady, it just works out. But people rarely put themselves in a position to fail that greatly. You can work your job making parts for GM. Nothing wrong with that. You're going to get paid pretty handsomely. You're going to be able to rent a lake cottage and probably buy a boat and drive new vehicles and do all that kind of stuff. But if that's not what you want to do for the rest of your life, you'll never have an extra $100,000. You're going to spend it. I know I do. I know that you do. We're like that. If we had an extra $100,000, it's gone. We don't have one because we spend it. You're never going to have the
motorcycles.
Money. Yeah, motorcycles. Mine's just like spending stuff on trips and people and do all that kind of stuff. Stupid stuff.
I'm selfish.
Well, I mean, I'm selfish too. In the fact that I spend on other people. I guess I'm what I think that people need and things like that. And so you'll never have that right time, right capital sort of. You're not going to get a refund check like, holy shit, they're giving me $50,000. Time to start this gas station I always wanted to.
Right.
Time to start my accounting firm. No. You just have to do it, and do it not part-time.
You got to be all in.
You got to be all in and put yourself in a position to succeed. Like with you, there was a chance that this Rise Up Kings event didn't pan out. And you went into it going, I'm going to go, but
I'm only going to take out what I want.
If I don't get everything out of it, it'll still be better than nothing sort of deal. And that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in a different lifetime, it doesn't work out for you. It's okay. We spent some money. You went. You're not worse.
No.
You'll never be worse from going to an event like this.
No.
So go. Put it on a credit card. You'll get it back. I think that's a good thing. If you want to do Rise Up Kings, you don't have the money, put it on a credit card. It'll, from what Ryan's telling me, it will help your life out tremendously. If you can do it at a younger age, like we're getting up there now. I'm almost 40. You're over 40.
Almost 50.
If you could do this Rise Up King stuff when you were impressionable in your 30s, younger 30s.
I probably wouldn't have received it, though.
You probably wouldn't have received it, but
that was
maybe
real hard then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but maybe.
Everything happens for a reason at what time it happens.
For sure. But, how much further would you be along if it happened the same kind of way?
Oh. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I'm just saying
if I was as open to it
Yeah, me and you
And
got
then
like
now-
10, 15 years left of like really productive, years before we're like mostly talkers, before we can actually go kill it and things like that. So if we could do it 10 years ago, like, oh my God, it'd be so different.
Yeah.
It'd be so different.
If we were open to it. Yeah.
If it all worked out the same exact way and how it's supposed to work out. So I'm really thankful that is there anything else you want to share from Rise Up Kings, the messages or anything as we like anything profoundly that you think that we want to leave the viewers with that was a determining factor? They get that at this point, if I'm reading the viewership right, they're getting that you're a hard dude, that you weren't open to the experience, that it opened you up physically and mentally. You gain new life experiences, profound stuff at some parts. Some stuff was just good life decisions to have in the future, I'm sure. But what if someone's on the fence like, all right, no, I get all that good stuff, but I really can't, I don't know if I want to take a week off work and family and do all that stuff unless I see X.
There's so much that I want to go into. But again, out of respect for the program and things like that, I can't get into it. So it's hard to make it all make sense. But look, you know how I am with money and everything else. I'm so confident in the fact that if you went and you came back and you told me that you didn't get anything out of it, I would pay you back. Because it is impossible to go out there and not get something out of that. Because I thought myself I wouldn't get anything out of it. Truthfully, I thought it'll help me catapult towards the fitness thing that I wanted to definitely focus on, because I want to get back to where I was, right? But man, the things that it did for me is unbelievable. Truthfully, I know that sounds cliche to say, but it was an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything.
Nice.
If you were to say, would you do it again? Obviously, absolutely, I would do it again. And there's not too many things that I experienced like this that I'd be like, yeah, let's go do it again right away. I was worried when I left, because I was like, I didn't want any of these feelings to go away. You know what I mean? Like, because it was such a great experience. But what I found is that I can stay open to it, right? That those experiences don't have to stop. Can I share you one thing off topic with it? Sure. Well, it kind of goes with it. Because we talked about Rashad, right? And I hadn't talked to Rashad, in a minute. Like after
Maybe
I got
6 months, probably at least.
At least, yeah. Yeah, I did ghost him because I got back on my I'm not doing this religious thing no more, blah, 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 right? I get back, and Saturday night, I sent him a message. I said, hey, bro, you preaching tomorrow? And he goes, yeah, bro, I am actually. I was like, still the same place, which is like, I think it was like 40 minutes from my house. Let's say 40 minutes from my house. I think I said an hour earlier, but it's probably realistically 40 minutes from my house. And he said, yeah, I am. I was like, right on, man. I said, I'll see you tomorrow. And he goes, no. And I said, yeah, bro, I'll be there tomorrow. So I show up, and that was an embrace by itself, right? Because Rashad and I, we had something, like some sort of great chemistry between us for some reason. I think our lives mirror each other a lot, right? But this is like, I'm going to say a God moment. He already had his sermon prepared, right? Because the church pretty much lays out what they're going to be talking about week to week, okay? And it was on 1 Peter 4, 1 through 4. And it's about shedding, your old skin and starting new. Well, isn't that crazy that his sermon would be on that after I get back from this experience? And then, like, down, I don't know what they're like up here right now, but down where I live in Indiana, like Indianapolis area, the cicadas are real bad this year, right? And he used that analogy. Are they bad up here?
I've seen them for the first time in a long time.
Well, there's like 18 years before they come back up, right?
It's weird.
Okay. But he used that analogy. He's like, the cicadas are real, real bad this year. He said, but they're down in this ground and this dirt and everything for, I think he said 18 years. Don't quote me on the time when they sit on there, but they come up, and what's the first thing they do? They shed their old skin. Like, dude, that like hit me right square in the face. I'm like, this isn't coincidence, man. You know, this is something out there working.
Yeah.
And
part of you woke up
Yep.
during that experience.
Opening my eyes and saying, hey, man, you know, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop playing victim. Get rid of all that old crap. Be open to new stuff. Be open to accepting from others the help that you need, you know, that you think you're too big of a man to accept.
Nice. Then one more question as we finish this podcast up. There's a Rise Up Queens.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, first off, from what I hear, they got it a lot easier than the dudes anyways. Like, they get their nails did and they go to
What?
hot tubs. And,
I want to do that. I want to do Rise Up
bro,
Queens.
I swear to God, I asked that. I was like, can I go to the Queen one?
I'm going to do it. That's more my style, bro. I don't know
Like,
if you
I'm
know
all
this,
about getting
but,
a hot
like,
tub time.
like, that might be. I'll share my feelings with a bunch of women around the hot tub. That sounds sweet.
But I think it definitely has its place. It can definitely be helpful. I don't know. I don't know where I want to go with this, to be honest, because I'm kind of torn on it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's just the man in
Maybe
me.
I'll send my girlfriend there and we'll just test the waters out.
I don't think she can go before you. Don't quote me on that. But I think you have to go before your significant other goes. Because it's about
we make the rules.
You're right. It's about like building on that relationship, right? You know, and that there was a lot of eye-opening things because Skylar's wife did come in and talk a little bit, and it gave myself a new perspective, you know, on what kind of shitty husband I am, right? Or how I could be better.
Yeah, we all struggle.
Yeah, because we let life get in the way, and again, like that's a big thing, man. We all play victim, like. Why didn't you clean the house today? That's the one thing you have to do. Like, I went and worked all day long. I dealt with a bunch of type A personality people. I had to listen to Austin bitch about me not doing this. I had to get the orders done. Sierra gave me a list of shit that needs handled by the end of the week. I got customers that aren't paying that. I'm dealing with all this stuff every day, and you can't wash the dishes and make the bed? Well, there's a reason for it, you know? I mean, she deals with the same stuff, right? Even though, yeah, we both, like, even I have a heart, I'm like, she does not deal with the same stuff, you know? Like,
sure.
But, you know, like, what are we doing to make it easier for her?
Yeah.
Like, truthfully, at the end of the day, that is, like, our jobs are to help each other and meet us, right? Because that whole thing was brought up, I'll go ahead and say this. It was a sentence, something like, I will love you blank if you continue to blank, right? So it was almost like a contract or an agreement type thing, right? And my question to that is, but you as a woman, and after I said all this, I really looked at it and I was like, nah, please don't beat me up. You know, but as a woman, husband and wife, you entered into this agreement, right? You entered into an agreement. I know I got to change my thinking on that a little bit, but you agreed to do X. You agreed to stay home and take care of the kids and wash the dishes and cook dinner and stuff like that. I agreed to make sure I would go out and do everything possible to provide for the family that enables you to do those things, right? why aren't you holding up your end of the bargain?
Oh, interesting.
You know, like, why, how come that's fair? You know, like, even, like, let's say even,
I like this.
let's, like, even say sex, bro.
Yeah.
Like, really?
No, I really like talking about this.
Why is it okay for you as a woman to fail? But are they failing? You know, the thing, this is the other way we should be looking at it, especially you and I, because, like, we're gone all the time. At the end of the day, we're gone all the time, right? At least 5-6 days a week, we are gone, running, okay? We leave them with everything to deal with, really. You know, and what happens when they're sick? What happens when they're having an off day? We're men, like, I'll say it like that, like,
We do it.
but we do it, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes we still break down. We still can't do it. Think about it, bro. Like, think about it seriously. How many times do you and I self-medicate to escape from it? Whether that be drinking, whether it be disappearing on the motorcycle, whether that be going to get our favorite food and sitting there gorging ourselves just so we don't have to face reality, right?
Fair.
Because that's what we're doing.
Fair.
Why isn't it okay for them to do it?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, they and I mean, truthfully, they're more emotional than us, really.
Yeah.
We're physical,
like
they're emotional.
I like the part where it is because I've always wanted to think of it was a partnership, but more not a partnership, but yet a symbiotic relationship. Where if we're both not benefiting, then why are we doing this?
Right.
Because
Sure.
I'm not emotional, right?
Yeah, I get it.
I'm
I
not
get that.
emotional. So like I don't need the positive affirmations. I don't need the gift giving. I don't need any of that stuff. I need the stuff that I can't have time in the day. I have so much hours in the day. And if I'm going to spend 16 hours at work, I need you to do the 16 hours of stuff that I didn't have time to do. I need
Right.
you to do that.
Right.
To the best of your abilities.
Yep.
And I'm not all great on a scale because I'm not great at everything that I do during the 16 hours a day I'm at work.
Yep.
And so I've always wanted that. And I've struggled with that my whole life. I've been struggling with that because I'll do everything. If you disappoint me, I'll do your job.
Right.
I'll do the factory job. I've done that. I've done the driving. I don't care. If you disappoint me and you fall short, I'll just do it.
Yep.
I won't even bitch about it. I'll just do it. And I've struggled with that in relationships because I'll just do it. Am I all good for is just doing laundry, or all I'm good for is sex, or all I'm good for is whatever? Like, if you don't have to do it, I'll do it if you don't want to do it. I want you to want to do it, but if you don't want to do it, I'll just do it. I don't want to talk about it and stuff. So I struggle with that, not transactional type of that stuff, but the symbiosis of just being with a partner that does that. And I rarely dive into, well, what if they fall short? Because like we try to provide, but maybe we can't provide everything, or we try to be a strong role model for the kids, but if sometimes we're not, or we try to help out around the house, but sometimes we can't, or whatever. Like, what if they're doing that same thing? And I have struggled with that, and that's an interesting topic. I think that we'll maybe table this for another one we go on. But
I'm thinking about taking
yeah.
a step further. I'll use myself as an example right now. You could look at it as I was being selfish, right, by going to this event and being gone for 5 days.
Sure.
Okay. And I left the house for 5 days. During those 5 days, she was responsible for everything. Really. At the end of the day, she was responsible for making sure the kids got fed, making sure they got on the school bus, making sure they got the homework done, making sure she went to work, making sure the house was clean, making sure the dogs were fed, making sure the dogs were let out, doing everything, right? And then I come home and I expect everything to fall back in place. We're having sex tonight. We're doing this tonight. We're doing that tonight, blah, 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 blah. She's tired, bro. And we didn't even, like myself personally, I didn't think about it. Like, I made her grind for 5 days. And I expected her to welcome me back with open arms,
Interesting.
saying, so glad you're home. Let's go to the bedroom and let's do this and let's do that. It's not fair to think that way. I think that
No,
way.
I think that way too.
But it's not fair because we just dumped everything. She was emotionally, physically put through the same shit I was just put through.
Interesting.
But what did she? I at least got something in return, right? I did. I can look at you and say, I won in this situation by leaving for 5 days because I truly believe that it changed me. Right now, I didn't even have to leave for 5 days. Technically, I could have flew in super early Wednesday morning. I could have flew out late Friday night.
That would have sucked.
But instead, I wanted a day to get my bearings, get unpacked.
Which I think was the best thing. If you,
100%.
If we're giving advice on if you're going to book this trip,
Definitely
and do
do it that way.
A buffer day either side.
Yes, 100%.
Definitely helps you get mentally prepared to be in that and mentally prepared to leave.
But I didn't have to do that.
No.
Right? Because I started at noon Wednesday, so I could have came in super early Wednesday morning. But I chose to be selfish and go out there and do that, and I left her 2 extra days when she didn't really have to be left alone, right? Mm-hmm. Plus the 3. So it's like, why is it fair for me to think that way? You know, I shouldn't think that way. I should be like more apt to help.
Yeah.
Instead of demand when I get home.
That's a neat idea. I'm going to practice that tonight. I think I'm going to just see going in with a different light because that's a pretty cool concept. That's different than the way I think.
Oh, it's definitely different from the way I think. I mean, like think about it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a pretty selfish cat. You know, because I almost come across demanding. How I do it with my salespeople. Like, I expect you to do this. Like, it's not an option. You're going to do it.
Well, you do it underneath the pretext of, like, you're out there doing it, so there's no excuses for the next person.
Exactly.
You don't do it, and you don't sit at home on the couch, bring me this, blah, blah, blah. You're out there killing it.
Right.
And so you expect nothing less than that for whoever you're talking to.
But not everybody's on that level.
And
that's what we got to remember. And we also have to remember that just because you're not on that level doesn't mean you don't have a good, solid place in my area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we need.
Sometimes people don't think they're on solid footing with you, depending on how you think with them at any given time.
Right. Yeah. And I think to go back to the Rise Up King thing, that's the prime example. Like you can tell what aspect of your life is struggling real quick because like I said, there's only 4 pillars that hold that house up.
Yeah.
And that's for everybody.
That's for everybody.
You know, so, you know, if you're real fitness, you got that pillar real high, but you got your family pillar down here. What's that say about your house?
Yeah.
You know, so you got to have that equal focus on all 4. You know, you can't let one outweigh the other.
I like it. We'll wrap this podcast up. If you guys enjoyed Ryan talking about the Rise Up King event, if you have any questions about that, reach out to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, anything that you want to comment on. We're on all the platforms. We can talk about this again. Share it with someone I think that needs that. This was a lot less on business today and a lot more on self-improvement for sure. We don't have topics that we won't talk about here. You know, we want whatever you guys want to talk about, that's what we're going to talk about. And so if you guys want to hear more about this, reach out. But again, I appreciate Ryan for coming in here and telling us about his stuff. That's a really unique perspective on a lot of stuff, and that I think a lot of people haven't experienced, and that would benefit a lot of people. And so, Ryan, thank you for sharing all your stuff. And
I wish I could have shared more. Like,
you know,
there's some juicy stuff in there, man.
I'm sure, man. Until next time, guys.